Evening, everybody. I will call to order tonight's meeting, December 3rd, 2025. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Usually pretty good about
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will get through some administrative board work and get on to new plans. Mr. Rugg, I believe we have a few sets of minutes we are looking to approve.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of November 5th, 2025, and to note that on line 244 of those minutes, there was a misspelling. The word land should be lane.
I have a
I
motion.
see everything.
I have a motion for Mr. Rugg. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Jason. All in favor, starting with Ann, please.
it. Ann Champa, aye.
Giovanni Veroni abstain from this one.
Lynn Wiles, aye.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta abstain.
Jason Knights, aye.
Sean Faber, aye.
John Cruz abstain.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. These minutes have been approved. Next set, please.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of November 12th, 2025 as presented.
I have a motion from Mr. Rugg. Do I have a second?
Second that, Mr. Chair.
Second from Mr. Wiles. All in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Ann Champa, aye.
Giovanni Veroni, aye.
Lynn Wiles, aye.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta abstain.
Jason Knights, aye.
Sean Faber, aye.
John Cruz, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. What was that? November 12th?
That was the 12th.
The
Yeah,
November 12th meeting minutes have been approved. Do you have one more set? You ready to do those or no?
Third set.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of November 18th, 2025 as presented.
Motion from Art. Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Second from Lynn, starting with Ms. Champa, please.
Ann Champa, abstain.
Giovanni Veroni, aye.
Lynn Wiles, aye.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta abstain.
Jason Knights, aye.
Sean Faber, aye.
Cruz, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. The meeting minutes from November 18th have been approved. All right.
And just one question.
yeah.
Who seconded the November 5th minutes?
The second from the November 5th was Jason.
Jason, perfect, thank you.
All right, regional impact determinations. Kelly, we got anything?
None this evening, Mr. Chair.
Fantastic, fantastic. Discussions with town staff. Anybody have anything?
Nothing this evening?
Mr. Chair, you have two extension requests this evening. The first is for the Freestone Site Plan, map 13, lot 60-3, 59 Rockingham Road. They're requesting a 120-day extension, which would bring you to April 11th, 2026.
All right, I am looking for a motion to grant the extension to April 11th, 2026.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Motion from Mr. Rugg. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion, second from Jeff. All in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Ann Champa, aye.
Giovanni Veroni, aye.
Lynn Wiles, aye.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta, aye.
Jason Knights, aye.
Sean Faber, aye.
John Cruz, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. This has been granted to April of 2026. The second one.
The second is for the auto auction site plan, which is map 10, lot 51, One Action Boulevard. We're requesting a 6-month extension to May 4th, 2025.
I'm looking
Sorry,
for
26.
I'm looking for a motion to grant the auto auction extension to May 4th, 2026.
So move, Mr. Chair.
I have a motion from Art. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Jeff. All in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Ann Champa, aye.
Giovanni Veroni, aye.
Lynn Wiles, aye.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta, aye.
Jason Knights, aye.
Sean Faber, aye.
John Cruz, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. This extension request has been granted. All right, anything else?
Yeah, that's voted Monday.
All set.
Wonderful. We will get right into it. Our first item here is a public hearing on a request for waivers from Londonderry Site Plan Regulation 3.6.4.4.3 to allow a deck to encroach approximately 10 square feet into the 50-foot side setback, 3 Pepper Mill Road, map 2, lot 27C-52, zoned AR1. William Shea and Alexandra Shea are trustees, and William Shea Revocable Trust and Alexander Shea Revocable Trust is the owner and applicant. Folks want to come on up? Evening, sir. How are you?
Good.
You can have a seat. If you could give us your name, address, who you are. Well, I don't need your address, but your name and who you are and what you do. And
Yep.
you can get started on what you've got here.
Very good. John McRoby, owner and designer of New Hampshire State Line Consulting out of Wyndham, New Hampshire, representing William and Alex Shea at 3 Pepper Hill Road. We're looking to get a waiver for a building permit needed for constructing a deck off the backside of the residence. We're looking to install a 22-foot by 14.5-foot deck over existing impervious surface. And when we were applying for the building permit originally, we noticed that one of the footings, one of the 6 footings is within the no-build setback. So and while we were doing our due diligence, we noticed that, and so we brought it to the attention of the board, and we were looking for a request, or we're looking for a waiver so we can apply for a building permit. But essentially, we have one footing taking about 1 square foot of area within the no-build setback, and that is the extent of ground disturbance proposed for the within that setback.
Question for you.
Sure.
You have got, I see some designs here. You've got a ground patio and then you have a porch. Is the ground patio going to be installed?
The patio is existing,
Okay.
and it's unfortunately the site plan that is up on the screen is not in color, but you can see the extent of the deck off the backside of the residence is hatched over your cursor there.
Oh, okay, yep.
So it's about, in total, the deck expands about 10 square feet, but the limited disturbance is again about a square foot within that setback.
So the deck is existing?
The patio is
The
existing.
patio, okay, now,
Yes.
so you have the footprint of the patio is staying the same?
Yes,
You're
yep,
just putting a deck over part of it,
over the existing patio, correct.
over the existing patio, so there will be no, I'm just looking at your 3D rendering, there's still a patio there, which shows that it would probably go another like 6 or 8 feet past that.
Yes.
Okay.
So is that a new patio?
Is that a new patio, or is that existing?
No, the patio is not changing or being modified.
Okay,
It's
so the
existing.
patio's there, the patio's existing, the patio's already encroaching.
That's correct.
You're saying we want to put a deck over the patio and it's going to impact, the one corner of it's going to impact a few square feet.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, I will, I'll start with the board. Or I'll go to staff and then I'll go to the board. Staff, you guys got
So-
anything?
That's mine.
Hello, how are
Hi.
you?
So when this development went in, there was a different zoning for that area. It was done under the elderly housing, and that's
Since gone.
here anymore, but the site plan showed a 50-foot setback, so that still exists. So you need to grant a waiver from that buffer area for this patio or deck to get a building permit.
Okay. All right. Does the board have any questions? Mr. D?
So is that why it's here instead of ZBA?
Correct. Yes, because it's not, it's a matter of a site plan approval, not an existing zoning
Got
issue.
it. Got it,
Makes
thank
sense.
you.
Makes sense.
It's very fine.
Do we have any statements from abutters, pro or con?
We reached out to abutters as well as all the HOA officials. We already received HOA approval. So this was a secondary step towards getting the permit, but we have not received any responses from abutters. The applicant has good relations with all abutters, so right now we're just going through the motions.
Kelly, to be legal, is that something that we should have notified the abutters on, or did we? We
Yep.
went through our normal
We followed our
process to do that?
standard hearing process.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Yeah, this is a regular public hearing.
Yep. Anything else from the board? Yes, sir.
So, I guess the question is, why can't you just move the footing, and if it's only a couple, like,
So to
can't you
me,
just adjust because my concern is, all right, so this takes up 10 square feet, and then somebody from the the 99 other houses that are there goes, okay, well, what about 12 square feet? And what about 15 square feet, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So if this is one footing and it's 10 square feet, like, why not just adjust the design of the deck so that it doesn't encroach?
So we did an alternative analysis to see if we could feasibly reorient the deck or resize it. And based on the orientation of the house and the extent of the patio existing, we thought aesthetically and functionally it would make most sense to keep things square with the lines of the house versus cut it at a 45 to avoid that encroachment. But we had considered it. Looking into it, we realized we were going to generate about 30% more waste doing that in order to meet the dimensions. That's how much extra waste we would generate. So we had considered it, but after some thought and consideration, we decided to apply for a waiver. But we are emphasizing that we're only disturbing the ground about, 1 square foot. So the deck is essentially expanding over the setback, but it's 1 square foot of disturbance.
Yeah, my concern is just that there's 99 other houses there, and once you set a precedent.
Understood. When this setback was established back with the old ordinance, I think the setbacks were a little aggressive just because of the zoning at that time. We are trying to be respectful and considerate of that, and if there's anything we could do to enhance that zone, whether it's plantings or something to, try to offset that disturbance, we're welcome to consider that. But I did speak with a client about reducing it, and they wanted to see if we could keep with the original design.
Thank you.
You're running a high waist anyways at 14.6 as it stands, you're already 1.5 feet off common. So, you're already at a high waist number as it stands.
Yes, we are trying to use bigger lumber, like engineered timbers, to limit the amount of footings that we're doing, so we can span further distances. So we are trying to do this, with consideration to meet and exceed the applicable building codes, so. But yes, we will be generating some waste. But we're not gonna be staging anything within the no setback. Everything will be done outside the no build zone. There won't be any disturbance other than minimal impacts for that 1 footing.
Tony?
Can I ask Kelly to put the picture up?
Yep.
Can you put the elevation picture up that's a little further down? It shows the home and the deck.
You want to jump on that corner?
This,
Next one, I think. Yeah, that one. Thank you. So currently the patio is there,
It is.
and you want to put a deck on top of the patio.
That's what the applicant's proposing. They purchased the property last year,
Okay.
and they're looking.
So is there a problem with the patio? Does it flood? Is it
No,
a
there's
problem? Is it?
There's no issues with elevations or drainage there. There's no utilities in the area. The homeowner was just looking to improve the area for living space off the back of the house. So they're just.
And the patio was not considered living space? The applicant?
They'd asked me
Okay.
to design a deck, so.
So if the footing is a problem, then that entire slab that I'm looking at, or whatever it is, pavers or whatever, that's also out of compliance too, isn't it?
It's not a temporary structure. They're just dry set pavers.
Understood, thank you. Yes, thank you. Yep, my bad. Yeah. So right now, if I'm looking at the picture on the upper right, that's how it looks right now,
That's correct.
without the deck.
That's right. So we're basically looking to expand over the existing footprint of the patio. So we're not going to be going outside of that.
I'm a little bit with Jason on the precedent. I mean, it's not that big a deal, but precedent is. So That's where I'm at.
Those were my, excuse me, those were my thoughts exactly, too, because I noticed, was it 14.5 feet it extends?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe
Is
the
that trim board?
deck extends 14 and a half feet off the back end of the house. So that's the width dimension of the deck.
Okay. Thank you.
Question for you. And I think you already answered it with Tony, but if that patio was not there today, could you build the dimensions of that patio as it stands because it's technically not a structure? Patio doesn't have footings.
No, well, the patio is, it's not, and I think I spoke with the inspector on this, the patio is not considered a building.
Correct. So
Or
you could build it the way it lays today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I looked at the, I drove around, but I also looked at the aerial views, and it doesn't, I could be wrong, maybe you know, or maybe somebody knows. Are there any other homes in this neighborhood with a deck, or are they all patios?
That's a great question. I think from what I've observed, it's been mostly patios.
Yeah, I didn't see any decks on the aerial view, but the aerial view could be out of date. And if this neighborhood's like any other neighborhood, we'll see a lot more decks, which I don't have an issue with decks. But going back to everybody else's point and Jason's point with the precedent, I'm worried about, okay, this guy, I agree, it doesn't seem like it's that big, but it's then when you have 100 other homes and they're all the same exact design, and the deck's gonna look beautiful, your design is beautiful. I'm just worried about, then we have to make judgments, okay, 20 feet, we can't go 20 feet, or whatever that number is. So that's just my opinion.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I got one question. Kristen, did you say that when it was constructed underneath the zoning for the elderly, that it would have complied then?
No.
Okay, I misunderstood you. Thank you.
Anything else from the board? Mr. Rugg?
Chair, the only thing I would say, if I know it's not very much, but I think if any other comes in, should not exceed this, and there should be less, impact. So this is 10 feet, I would say, not allow any more than 10 feet, but that's like an unwritten thing, and only in our minds right now, and who knows what the future board would do. So, but I think there's some good points brought up.
Anything else from the board? All right, this is a public hearing. I will open up discussion to the public. If you have any input, please feel free to come up to the mic, state your name and address. Come on up, sir.
Just turn up the volume. I can hardly hear what you're saying.
Oh, hey, Drew, did you get that? Can you turn up the volume on the microphones a little bit?
Yeah. I don't have any questions.
Sure. Seeing that, I will close public comment, bring it back to the board. Board, what would we like to do? I would be, obviously, we would vote to recommend, and the board can vote as they so choose. So I would be looking for a motion to grant the waiver of the LSPR section 3.6.4.4.3 to allow the encroachment of approximately 10 square feet of deck within the 50-foot setback, 3 Pepper Mill Road, map 2, lot 27C-52, zoned AR1. William Shea and Alexandra Shea as the trustees, in accordance with New Hampshire State Line Consulting LLC plans dated October 15th, 2025.
I will make that motion, Mr. Chair, and also to, I think, to add on to it, or at least in discussion, it only occupies 1 square foot of that space.
Understood.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Mr. Rugg. Where was my second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Cruz. All in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Champa, nay.
Giovanni Veroni, aye.
Lynn Wiles, aye.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta, aye.
Jason Knights, nay.
Sean Faber, aye.
John Cruz, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. This waiver has been granted 7-2 with 0 abstentions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on, we have a public hearing for an application for formal review of a subdivision of map 10, lot 41, to create a new 12-acre lot on Pillsbury and Gilcrest Road, 15 Pillsbury Road, map 10, lot 41, zoned AR1 in Woodmont Commons PUD. Procopio Companies is the applicant, and Pillsbury Realty Development LLC is the owner. Gentlemen, good evening. Give me 1 second here. All right. Before we get going, we need to check this for completeness. There is an outstanding checklist item, checklist 5.2 LSR 4.12, the boundary plan. I would be looking for a motion to accept this for completeness only.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we do accept this plan as complete with the condition that be noted on the plan itself as a condition.
I have a motion from Mr. Rugg. Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Second from Lynn. All in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Ann Champa, aye.
Giovanni Veroni, aye.
Lynn Wiles, aye.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta, aye. Jason Knights, aye.
Sean Faber, aye. John Cruz, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. This has been accepted as complete. Before we get going, John and Kelly, do you have anything?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, in the December 3rd memorandum, the engineering memorandum, there are 5 checklist items. Those being, again, adding some additional notes to the plan set. Those waiver items, in my opinion, can be waived for acceptance purposes only. And staff would be good with that.
So they would become conditions of approval.
Yeah. Caught you before you went around the.
Where are, John, I'm sorry, where are they?
Yeah, on the,
What page?
but, the unnumbered, after number, page 4. After Kelly's page 4.
Page
Staff.
1 of 2
I'm
on
sorry.
the engineering memo.
I might be looking at the wrong thing. Hold on. Give me a, what is it?
I got you.
Application and checklist, 4B 15 Pillsbury Road.
Yep, so it would be checklist items as noted in the engineering memo, numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
I will accept a motion.
So move it, Mr. Chair.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second, Mr. Chair.
Second from Mr. Rugg. All in favor, please say, starting with Ann, excuse me.
Ann Champa, aye.
Giovanni Veroni, aye.
Lynn Wiles, aye.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta, aye.
Jason Knights, aye.
Sean Faber, aye. John Cruz, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. Anything else from staff?
This time.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen, good evening. Floor is yours.
Good evening. Thank you for having us again. Happy to be here. With me tonight, my name is Will Nucci. I'm with Procopio. With me tonight, I have Laura Gandia from Divine Millimet. She's our attorney on the job. Matt Keeley and Ashley Domagala from VHB. They're our traffic engineers for the job. Eric Bednarik, who's our landscape architect. Ben Zoller, who's our engineer from VHB as well. And Keith Case from UTIL, who's our project architect. Dave Roach from City Lights Development, who is our third-party permanent consultant, and then Kevin Smith, who's the seller from Pillsbury Realty. Tonight we have 2 projects. We'll go through the first one, which is number 2 on the item tonight, which is 15 Pillsbury Road. Really what this is a subdivision. I'll have Ben talk through it. We did just get the conditions this afternoon, so to be fully candid, we would look for a continuance just because we're still working through those conditions that we got late this afternoon. So, but we would still like to continue with the presentation since we have everyone here, if that's okay by you, Mr. Chair.
Yep.
Thank you, Will. So what we're looking at in this application essentially is a subdivision creating a new lot from the current lot, which is tax map 10, lot 41, otherwise known as 15 Pillsbury Road. That parcel as it exists today is in the neighborhood of 140 acres. We would be proposing to take off 12.19 acres and establish a new lot. This lot would be at the corner of Pillsbury Road and Gilcrest. The remaining lot would be 131.05 acres, and it's a big portion of the Woodmont Commons development. We are requesting a waiver in regards to this application tonight. That waiver pertains to the Londonderry subdivision application, Londonderry subdivision regs, section 4.12, as well as the application checklist item V2 or 5.2. Essentially, what that pertains to is usually in Londonderry, it's required to have an entire boundary plan done of the entire parcel that's donating land for the subdivision. We do have a lot of different boundary plans that are on file with the Registry of Deeds for that map 10 lot 41 parcel, otherwise known as Woodmont Commons, 15 Pillsbury Road. And there's a lot of history there, various boundary plans that can be found today. Anyone can go to the Registry of Deeds and look for that. So we didn't feel that it was pertinent to go through the exercise, and it would have been a very lengthy exercise of surveying the entire 131 acres. We've done a survey, and we're ready to stake out the 12.19 acres shown here. Any questions on that at all, or can I elaborate on anything?
Want to keep going?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Even with the continuance, we would ask if we can get approval on the waivers, if that's amendable.
Yeah, of course. I will start with staff, come to the board, and then we'll go to the public.
Well, just for the board's edification as well as the audience, what is the purpose, what are you gonna be doing with the property?
So as of right now, 15 Pillsbury is just going to be subdivided. This is part of the south portion of Woodmont Commons, south of Pillsbury Road. So in order for us to complete the transaction of buying the property, 15 Pillsbury needs to be subdivided from that. We have no plans at this point. We're working with the town. Obviously, there's some other traffic items, so we're working with the town. But as of right now, there's no density here, and we're just looking to subdivide at this point.
So as of right now, and probably near future, it'll be exactly the way it is now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Another component of this that we looked at, there's a minimum size of 10 acres in order to keep a parcel in its current use throughout the subdivision process. And so we wanted to maintain more than 10 acres such that there would be no change to the current use of the site. Current use is listed as vacant, and it would remain vacant with this proposed plan.
Kelly.
No, I'm gonna finish, sorry, Jake.
I'm sorry, John.
No, it was just to
Yep.
let him, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, again, as they went through the waiver requests, waivers such as what they're requesting, staff typically supports, particularly where there is recent subdivision plans on file. And as Ben indicated, there's a number of them, particularly that are recent subdivision plans. Second item of comment would be the applicant should note the requested planning board waivers on the plan set. The applicant should show the shoreline protection boundary, if any. The applicant should show the location of noted benchmarks and provide the required number of benchmarks. The applicant should provide the source of the soil information shown in accordance with the regulations. The applicant should provide a deed for the proposed easement. In general note 9, the applicant has noted that the contemplated use is open space. The applicant should propose a definitive proposed use such that conformance with all regulations can be determined. Item 8, the applicant should note that PUD sub-area and lot is in and indicate for what sub-area and lot type the frontage and setback dimensions are from. Item number 9, the applicant should correct the spelling of Gilcrest Road. Number 10, the applicant should properly endorse a survey endorsement on both sheets and ensure that the seal does not obstruct the endorsement language. Item 11 should address the DRC comments. Item 12, they should revise note number 3 on the subdivision and the topographic plans to indicate that both sheets will be on file with the planning department. Item 13, based on the documents received and reviewed and based upon the understanding that no infrastructure is proposed as part of this application, note 7 should be removed from the subdivision plan of land. And lastly, the note number 1 should be corrected on both sheets, probably referencing the correct parcel and to indicate the proposed area of the new lot, 12.19 acres. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Kelly?
So this application was submitted immediately to this board, so it did not go through one round of design review as we typically do, which is permissible per our regulations, but you'll see in the staff memo, I've outlined the comments from what we call our DRC committee, that being the Conservation Commission, Heritage Commission, and the municipal departments. All of these comments, which is essentially the assessing department noting the acreage in current use, and then the land use change tax comment would be part of the conditions of approval. No other departments had significant concerns, and Conscom and Heritage did not have any comments. They essentially said no comment, so that would be noted in the conditions of approval. Speaking of the conditions of approval, I understand the applicant's asking for a continuance, but I wanted to draw the board's attention to condition number 2, which speaks to the applicant providing necessary easements to the town to support future intersection and corridor improvements. And I will have John chime in. He has some recommended language to add to A and B within that condition.
So this indicates an easement from the center line of Pillsbury and Gilcrest Road intersection to accommodate planned intersection upgrades, and a 50-foot easement from the center line along one side of Pillsbury for future roadway, bicycle, and pedestrian improvements, and also a 50-foot easement along the east side of Gilcrest Road, again, to accommodate future roadway, bicycle, and pedestrian improvements. Specific alignment and dimensions to be confirmed with Department of Public Works and Engineering.
Thank you. All right, before we go to the public, board, do we have anything? Ann?
Did I see on the plan that you call the duck pond the duck swamp?
Yes.
I take offense
It is
to
quite
that.
that.
We can absolutely have that corrected to say duck pond.
Thank you.
No problem at all.
Anything else from the board? All right, this is a public hearing. I will open it up to the public. If you folks have anything, please come up, give us your name and address, and the mic is yours. Good evening, Ray.
Ray Burson, 3 Gary Drive. Sometimes it's a little hard to hear sitting in the back. Sometimes the microphones aren't close by. But I'm just trying to understand, they're coming before because they want to make a change in this property. Am I understanding that correctly?
They're looking to subdivide this parcel of land.
For what purpose?
To subdivide it. I mean,
Well-
you guys don't have any intention to put any density on it. I think I heard you say that a couple times, correct?
Correct. In order for us to buy this parcel of land
So
from
this
Pillsbury,
is part of your purchase and sale agreement or requirement with the applicant, not the applicant, excuse me, the owner, is to subdivide this portion of land, and for Procopio to take this subdivided as part of their purchase and sale.
That's correct.
Oh, okay, all right. So now I understand that. I didn't realize that they were purchasing the property from Woodmont, because Woodmont owns the property, I believe, currently.
Correct.
So they're going to be buying it, and apparently they don't have to tell us what they're going to use it for, but they probably have a plan in the future, I would think, if you're buying a piece of property. My concern is the fact that there's a lot of wetland on this property. And it's kind of a unique piece of property. I'd love to see it as conservation, but because of the brook that runs through it, that comes down off Pillsbury's, off Woodmont's property, which I refer to as Spring Brook, that runs onto this property, through this property, that most of the water goes into the duck pond, and some of it goes under Gilcrest and continues on and down to Beaver Brook. We have a lot of issues in this town and a lot of things to be concerned with. And these folks have a right to come forward to purchase the property. I can't say anything that is not allowed, certainly. But I certainly would like to know what this property is going to be used for, and perhaps this isn't the time for them to explain that. But this duck pond, it's not a swamp, it's a duck pond. It's probably over 10 acres, and I believe any pond or lake in the state of New Hampshire that is over 10 acres should have the right for the general public to use. Not to mention that we got a lot of birds and animals living on this property. So this is a pretty unique piece of property, and I would like to see it used in the proper manner. One other thing, and that is about traffic. We have a lot of traffic on Gilchrist, we have a lot of traffic on Pillsbury, and we have a corner there that is seeing all kinds of traffic, and with all these other things coming forward, we're going to see a lot more. There's discussion of putting rotaries at the head of Gilchrist and Pillsbury Road. There was also discussion of putting sidewalk along Pillsbury all the way down headed to Ash Street, which was approved at one time but never happened. So there's a lot to think about as to what this property is going to be used for. I hope it's being used properly, and I hope the value of the property environmentally is going to be used properly. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Unless anybody has any questions.
I have some stuff to say, but I don't have any questions. I think it'll help answer some of your questions.
Thank you.
I want to talk on a couple things you just discussed. Obviously, traffic is a big issue in this intersection. Can you just reiterate, part of the conditions of approval for this will give the town of Londonderry an easement to be able to improve this intersection, whereas right now the town of Londonderry does not currently have an easement to be able to improve this intersection, correct?
Correct. So one of the conditions of the, how do I get on that one? One of the conditions of the approval are that they give us 50 feet from the center line of Gilchrist Road to the east. So I would envision, land in there to be able to do some turn lanes or whatever we might need to do. Also, at the intersection itself, Gilchrist and Pillsbury, that, again, it's undefined easement at this time, but we've discussed that with Procopio people, and they're amenable to it. And then on the south side of Pillsbury Road, here is, again, another 50-foot easement from the center line of Pillsbury south.
Thank you.
So that's what I was elaborating on.
Thank you. So just to clarify, we currently do not have an easement on either of these sides of the road. We do not have an ability to expand or make any improvements to this intersection because we do not have the right-of-way space. This subdivision of this will give us the ability to make improvements. Thank you. I want to rewind back to, I know this isn't tonight, but I want to rewind back to a conceptual meeting you had. You discussed this parcel of land in depth. There is no intention to develop on this piece of land, correct?
That's correct.
And Kelly, if I'm wrong here, please correct me, because I might be, but I don't think I am. Is there any density left for you to be able to develop on this piece of land?
In our purchase and sale agreement, no.
Correct. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Anything else from the public? We got one coming. Deb, can you let him go first, please? Thank you. Come on up, sir.
Ladies first.
Now you got it.
Yeah.
118 Heidi Road, Deb Paul. I'm speaking as a citizen. I just want clarification on what you were just talking about. So we're going to be responsible, the taxpayers of this town are going to be responsible for fixing that intersection that is going to be impacted by them. We're not splitting it or anything.
I think that there's gonna be further discussion of that a little bit later on tonight.
Okay.
Could I just, let me say,
One second, but what this is doing is giving us the ability to make an improvement.
Okay, thank you, Jake. Because I kept hearing it, I'm like, oh, so we're gonna pay for it?
No, Kelly, do you want
just
to
want
add
to be
to that?
really clear, because there are two applications tonight.
Correct.
And we're talking about them at the same time, but they're two very different conversations.
Correct.
Right now, we're talking about the subdivision. We're talking about easements to exactly what you just said, Mr. Chair. Very well said. We will get into the traffic discussion in the site plan in more detail.
Thank you.
All right, no,
Good.
thanks.
Thank you. Sir?
Right around the corner from my house, it's only 6 houses down this corner, I know where it is. But you bought it for speculation.
Sir, if you
You're not
could
gonna-
please just
not
give us
gonna
your
build-
name and address.
Oh,
I
I'm
would
sorry,
appreciate
Peter
it.
Gallo.
Thank you.
30 Kit Lane.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
You're not gonna be building on it right away, you just bought this for speculation?
Yeah, you want to, so you're talking, I want you to ask your questions to me. If we have any questions, I can address the applicant.
There's runoff with the stream, he was referring to the duck pond, and I built a little water management thing behind my house. So it runs across my house, underneath the 2 houses behind me, comes down the street, and then it goes down Gary Drive. And until I built that, my basement used to flood out and had problems, so I'm worried about when they do build on it, if it would upset the water management of that. And of course, the civil engineers are gonna be looking at that. That's just my only concern.
That would be, my best way to answer this for you right now is they do not have any density to be able to build on this piece of land.
Okay.
As it stands today. If somewhere, somehow down the road, this piece of land were to be developed, they would have to go through a site plan process. That would show exactly what you're asking and ensure that there's no additional runoff to your land or anybody else's based on the development that's being proposed. Would be, there's no development being proposed,
Yeah.
but if there was one.
Yeah, my lot's not flat, it's raised and then it comes down like this, so I get a lot of the runoff, but I created like a little stream, so it doesn't flood out like it used to. But this may be not done anything with for a couple of years, or it's not necessarily that they're gonna start construction on it.
Ever right now.
Yeah,
Mhm.
as it stands, there's nothing to be done with it. John?
Excuse me, Mr. Gallo, you say you live on Kit Lane?
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, this is located south of you.
He's
So
uphill of this, no?
Exactly. So the next application that you're gonna hear, you abut that. the
Okay.
Next application.
Okay.
Just to help you out.
Okay.
Anything else from the public? Come on up, sir.
Hi, Anthony Ferraro, Catesby Lane 12. So the question, sounds like we're not going to be developing this anytime soon. The pathway that is at the end of Catesby Lane was planned to go along the north side of that spring brook and meet up on Gilchrist. Does that mean that is dead and buried now and that is going to be a permanent dead path?
Can you guys talk to what is existing and based off of what the original master plan was? Laura? And Laura, if you want, I'd like you to stay up, sir. Laura, if you just want to sit over here, that'd be great. Yeah, thank you.
The oldies. Good evening, my name is Laura Gandy, I'm an attorney with Divine Millimet, here on behalf of Procopio. The 2019 plan that's filed at the registry shows an approved trail path existing and constructed with a path detail. So that's in the process, it's not fully done, but that's what the plan calls for, and we have no intent to change that.
Okay. So your intent would be to construct the remainder of this I don't even know what to call it, pathway?
The
Trailway?
It was to be constructed back in 2019, so we'll work with Pillsbury to figure out who's going to actually work on constructing that path.
Thank you.
And will it follow the original course?
I'll let you answer it, Laura.
Yes, it's already delineated on that 2019 plan.
Okay.
It's been approved and recorded.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anything else from the public? All right, seeing none, I will close public comment and bring it back to the board. We do have a waiver to work on. The applicant is requesting an extension. So let's work on the waiver. Let's make a decision on the waiver, and then we can, I'm sorry, not an extension, a continuance. Then we can work on a continuance. So we do have one waiver here, which is actually to the checklist item that was outstanding. Checklist 5.2, site plan regulations 4.12, boundary plan. The applicant has requested a waiver from the requirement to submit a full boundary plan for the entire 132-acre parcel. The subdivision plan delineates the proposed lot lines relative to the parent parcel, meeting the intent of the regulation for review purposes. I would be looking for a motion to grant this waiver.
So move, Mr. Chair.
I have a motion from Mr. Rugg. Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Second from Lynn. All in favor, starting? Yes, sir, absolutely.
Yeah, no, just for clarity though, why are we voting, or, sorry, why are we waiving this? Like,
So-
what's the purpose?
So, let me draw it. Here's this lot, right? This is all a Woodmont. Here's Michael's Way. They're asking, hey, can we not map out all this right here, but we will map out what's pertinent to the lot?
Okay, so it's just for their, it's just for what's pertinent to the lot. and-
Correct.
Got it, okay.
It's gonna be- yeah.
Did my drawing help?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
This is open for
I see a
discussion.
new career path, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair.
right. This is
That was
open for
small.
discussion. Anything else?
He's not gonna make any money off that, no.
I just want to make a comment.
Yes, sir.
I just want to make a comment that I think the duck pond is important, and I know it's not going to go away, but just keep that in mind with future of this. If it happens to get donated to the town or whatever, I think that the duck pond's an important part of the town, so.
It's outside their boundary.
For clarification, is any of the duck pond
No.
part of this subdivision?
So the wetland line and the subdivision line kind of intercross each other.
Yeah.
So there are certain portions of
Where
the
it's-
duck pond
okay.
where it would be on the new
But the
subdivided
duck
property.
pond itself is staying on the existing parcel.
That's correct. The vast majority of that area is on 15 Pillsbury Road.
Fantastic. We are in discussion. Is there anything else? All in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Ann Champa, aye.
Giovanni Baroni, aye.
Lynn Wiles, aye.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta, aye. Jason Knights, aye.
Sean Faber, aye.
John Cruz, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. This waiver has been granted. And I would be looking for a motion to continue this. Kelly, what are we looking?
I'll defer to the applicant. They asked for a
Gentlemen.
continuance.
Can we go to the first meeting in January?
Yep. So I will be looking for a motion to continue this public hearing to January 7th, 2026.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I have a motion from Jeff. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Jason. All in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Ann Champa, aye.
Giovanni Baroni, aye.
Lynn Wiles, aye.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta, aye.
Jason Knights, aye.
Sean Faber, aye.
John Cruz, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. This has been continued to January 7th, 2026. New year. All right.
Yeah, I know.
Just because there's people in the audience, Mr. Chair, this is the only notice.
That is correct.
They've already been noticed. There will be no further notice in the mail or otherwise, other than.
What you hear tonight.
Well, other than the
Agenda.
agenda that will be posted wherever.
That's correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Wonderful. All right, moving on. Let me delete a couple things here. All right, we have a public hearing for an application for formal review of a formal review of a site plan and conditional use permit for 250 single-family cottage court-style dwellings, along with the associated site improvements located at 36 Pillsbury Road, map 10, lot 42, and AR1, Woodmont Commons PUD. Procopio Companies is the applicant, and Pillsbury Realty Development LLC is the owner. Gentlemen, I don't believe you are going anywhere. We do not have any outstanding checklist items. I would be.
Mr. Chairman, would you
Yes,
go
sir.
again back to the engineering memo?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I apologize.
No, you're all right, John.
Again, the outstanding items are, again, the New Hampshire DES alteration of terrain permit. It has been submitted and is currently under review. The New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services Standard Dredge and Fill permit, which has also been submitted under review. There are 3 permits yet to be submitted, those being the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services sewer discharge permit, the EPA construction general permit, Londonderry sewer discharge permit, and the Londonderry stormwater permit. Again, these are all permits that applicant is currently working on. Staff is comfortable with waiving these for acceptance purposes only. So again, they will have to obtain all these prior to final approval.
Thank you, sir. Kelly, anything?
All set.
So I would be looking for a motion to accept this application as complete, and that the checklist items on number 1 of the staff memorandum are a condition of approval. Do I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Motion from Mr. Rugg. Do I have a second?
Second, Mr. Chair.
Second from Mr. Wiles. All in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Champa, aye.
Giovanni Barani, aye.
Lynn Wiles, aye.
Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta, aye.
Jason Knights, aye.
Sean Faber, aye.
John Cruz, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. All right, gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is 36 Pillsbury Road. John, appreciate the introduction of what we've gone through so far from permitting. This job's also gone through design review twice. It's gone through conceptual here, and there is a compliance alternative that was approved December 11th, 2024. So just to get everyone, this is part of the conceptual plan, but just to get everyone situated, 36 Pillsbury is the area that's outlined in red. This is looking from the north-south. Pillsbury Road is on the background of this photo. You can see Duck Pond. Let's do it. Right there. And then this is 15 down here that we just talked about, but we're just talking about 36 today. So, former apple orchard. So, we talked about this in the previous BTR built-to-rent community. What are we proposing? We are proposing it's 250 single-family houses for rent. The communities will look like that. That is a rendering of the community. Anywhere from 1 to 3 bedrooms, which Keith and Eric and our team will discuss. What are some of the qualities of this? We think different from multifamily. There, you can get a diverse population, millennials and baby boomers. There is neighborhood engagement because there is common areas. There's resident amenities that people can walk to. There's community stability because there is going to be walking that we'll talk about between Woodmont Commons and this and the general public. High quality housing, and then professionally managed with a whole plot together. The other piece of this, in the PUD, it allows us to do cottage court. We talked about that in the compliance alternative from last year. The big piece here is the streets. They will be shared streets. They will be country-style drainage. They will feel like the old traditional New Hampshire roads, bucolic, and they will have, the bikes and the cars sharing the lane with the speeds being reduced in these areas. And the cottage court also allows us to have the common courtyard backyard, so there's one shared backyard, which brings the community together. Along with the amenity building, which we'll talk about.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Mr. Chair, I'm having a tough time hearing. The crosstalk in the audience is incredibly distracting. If we have an issue or you have a question, please take it outside. We're a quasi-judicial board. We have to hear all the information. I want to hear what the applicant is saying. I don't want to be distracted by crosstalk in the audience.
So
thank you.
So, folks, we would just ask you to please be quiet. If you would like to have discussion, you're more than welcome to have it. Please step outside for a minute. Come back in when you're done talking, and I can assure you that in public comment, you're more than welcome to come up here and discuss anything to the board. Thank you, sir. All right, gentlemen, please continue.
Sorry.
Thank you. Again, Eric Bednarik, VHB, landscape architect. I'll be talking a little bit about the site and the landscape characteristics and some of the amenities as well. So as we look at the current slide here, this focuses on one of the clusters. If you may be familiar with the site plan, we have a multitude of various types of clusters that define this project. Obviously, these the units are nicely laid out, with accentuated with various types of native plant material that are intermittently placed throughout the street. Frontages to break up some of the houses. Also, the cluster of the house, the cluster of these houses really complements a nice common space in the center, where you see the number 3 there. That will be a nice open community lawn area. Also with some type of small amenity space in there, which might be a fire pit, some ornamental trees, some other landscaping. And this central common area defined will also be defined by some other common space, but they all have a nice view extending out where it opens up, especially in this common space here to the left, overlooking this stormwater feature. And while the stormwater feature is colored blue, it's not meant to hold water. It's a detention basin, so water will leach through it. So it'll just be a nice grassy, depressed area. So it's also a nice feature also that the open common space will look out over to the views beyond to the left. And if we progress to the next, let's see. And so when we think about the specific landscape character, we will definitely introduce some really nice variation of plant material, native and adaptive plants. So some stuff may not be necessarily native, but like Miss Kim lilac, which is a really favorite plant, very extremely durable, will be added into the landscape. And also just to really bring in a nice diverse mix of plants that will introduce color throughout the seasons. So really bringing that value to the community and appeal as well. As we look at the general landscape overall, the character here is really just to focus on sustainability, really be a minimalistic type of landscape. So when you look at this picture at the top left, you see this really nice open meadow. This is the predominantly character of our site. So as you drive in through our roads, you'll see these open meadows, very minimal amount of maintenance in regards to mowing, and select locations of trees, native trees between deciduous, evergreen, and ornamental trees that really help to focus on the different views throughout the site, and also to introduce you into the site as well. It also enhances the biodiversity, the wildlife as well, depending on the trees that we've selected, but really an overall complementary landscape that's really sustainable. And then from a signage aspect, of course, we'll have a nice introductory monument sign at the main entrance and carry that really nice theme all throughout the site, leading into the different streets, announcing which street you'll be going to. The amenity building will also have some signage, and of course the walking paths, since they'll be fairly extensive. I'll go into that in more detail, but there'll also be wayfinding signage to help direct citizens throughout the site as well. I'll let it over to Keith to talk about the architecture.
Hi, Keith Case. As I mentioned, the proposal is for a mix of 1 and 3 bedroom houses. We have 5 designs with some various articulation and colors. You know, we took a page from the Londonderry Lookbook and really saw it as inspiration, both in terms of the character, the articulation, the mix of colors, and really trying to provide something that's contextual. It's primarily board and batten siding with clapboard and some shingles, gable end articulation, and some rafter tails. This is a 1-bedroom unit. There's one type of this with some variations. We're looking at a different palette of materials and trying to find the right balance. When we look at these comprehensively within each cluster, we've chosen a palette of 4 colors. The plurality will be white, and then using some of the other kind of architectural colors, a forest green, an oxblood, really looking at what the contextual palette is, as well as a medium gray, and trying to tune that so that it looks like a pleasant combination of colors and not like a welter of different of multicolored, and really just trying to find the right palette that's going to make it read within the community, but then also within itself. Unit 2A and 2B are both 2-bedroom units with bedrooms on the upper floor, an option with a bay window on the second floor. Unit 2C is a 2-bedroom and a living space, also with all the bedrooms and living space on the ground floor, a single floor unit. and then 2 options for the 3-bedroom units with an integral garage in this instance, and one without a garage, a little bit broader. In all instances, really looking at trying to create an active and engaging streetscape with porches facing the street, and trying to really lean into the cottage court and making those into as neighborly and neighborhood feel as possible. In the overall site plan, in the center is the amenity building. We'll have members from VHB come up and talk to the landscaping and site planning again. But looking at the amenity space itself, it has a common mail room, the dining and a club room, a game room, fitness lounge, a pool and locker room. And it opens out onto the adjacent recreation space and is access to common green and walking paths. And here we were looking at a building shape and form that is open and inviting and really kind of reaches out to all sides of the community, and has a real flow and connection between really all the different parts across the whole site plan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Keith. And then extending from the clubhouse, we also have amenities that are also located to the south and north. On the south side, we also have tennis courts, multi-purpose athletic field, and then to the north, there's also a dog park. So there'll be some really nice amenities that complement the clubhouse area as an overall amenity attraction. And then extending out from there, we have path systems that we're proposing. You see in red here on this diagram that will really enhance the walkability of the site. So it'll extend out from the clubhouse, really kind of creating this nice linkage to all the different clusters. And then most importantly, kind of really brings you all the way down to Pillsbury Road as well, and making that important public connection all the way down to Woodbury Commons, or Woodmont Commons. So it has a really nice link for also the public to be able to enjoy the site, experience the wetlands, the wildlife, and just the beauty of the site. It's some really nice views. With all these different amenities, the walkability, just the attraction of the overall site, really will all bring this together as a nice neighborhood. Balanced with the architecture, we'll have this really nice appeal that'll attract people to the neighborhood, really enhance that community appeal, both within the site, but also extending beyond the site. I think that's really important here with a nice combined sustainable landscape, beautiful architecture, low-level lightings. We're going very low-level lighting here, very minimal amount of lighting, so there'll be no disturbance to the neighbors. In the site plan, we're also preserving 1,000 of the apple trees that will complement the whole character of the region, but also
Excuse me.
provide.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Could you say that again? How many trees you're going to save?
1,000.
Thank you.
Correct. And that'll also help create some nice buffers to the perimeters as well, which is important to us and also the neighboring properties.
Can I also ask if they're going to be fruit-producing apple trees?
They won't be. So
They won't be?
We're working with Collins. They're a local orchardist, and once we get to the site, we'll evaluate all the trees. Some of the trees are savable, and some of them are in pretty bad condition. So we'll have to evaluate each one as we go.
Okay.
I'll hand it over to Ben to talk a little bit more about access.
So with this part of the presentation, we wanted to take a step back and talk about, some feedback that we've heard already. The planning board is familiar with the project, the public is familiar with the project, as well as town staff. There are some recurring comments and questions that we've heard, and we'd like to, get ahead of some of those questions now, if we could. First and foremost, emergency access. We've had some comments about the solo drive that we have, the solo access that we would have on Pillsbury Road, and the comment has been, if there's any kind of obstruction at this access road, where are emergency vehicles going to be able to get into the site? That's, a very important thing to us, obviously. So we've had some extensive conversations and coordination with Brian Johnson, the deputy fire chief, and in order to, accommodate some of his questions and concerns, we're going to be providing a secondary emergency access road here on Hovey Road. It would be a gravel access drive. It would not be available to residents to come and go. It would not be a cut through for, traffic in the region, in the area to go north or south. It would only be for emergency access. And there would be an electric gate there. The way that gate would work is it's click to enter compliant. Essentially what that means is, when the fire truck's on the way, they can blare a radio signal and the gate will hear that radio signal and it'll pop open. So the truck would be able to come in unobstructed. So this is the secondary access for emergency response vehicles that we're going to be providing. And then that ties nicely into the second point, single access on Pillsbury Road. There's been a lot of input about this, some concern from traffic as well. We, have looked at this extensively with our traffic analysis. We don't believe that the trips generated from the site will overwhelm this single driveway. We feel that a single drive is sufficient. And, thinking about the traffic patterns that we would see on Pillsbury Road as well, with just one access, that's only one part or one portion, of the road where cars would be slowing down in order to make that right or that left turn into the driveway. So we're hoping to, minimize our impacts to the traffic patterns as best we can with the single access. Another bit of input that we had previously in design review that I thought was really interesting was from the police department. We were previously showing another access road here and another driveway. And the comment that the police department gave was, if someone's over in this neighborhood, or in this cluster, in the wintertime, they want to go up and use the gym, they would essentially have to come outside of the property, turn out onto Pillsbury Road, go the, several hundred feet over to the next access and come up and in to go to the amenity building. With this single access and this internal four-way intersection that we have, we feel that we can internalize a lot of those vehicle trips and not necessarily have to put any strain, any additional vehicle trips onto Pillsbury Road. So from that point of view, we feel that it's a benefit to have a single access road. In terms of road design, one thing that I did want to touch on, we've had, a lot of input about, road width. Should it be wider? What exactly is the right amount of road width? 30 feet, 24 feet, what is it exactly? The PUD that governs a lot of, what we've looked at for the site speaks to a residential road being 24 feet wide. When we originally went for our compliance alternative in November, December of last year, we did not seek to change that width for the residential road. We felt that that would be a sufficient road width. Now, that being said, there are two areas where we're going to be proposing a 28-foot wide section of road. That would be from the access road on Pillsbury, or the access drive on Pillsbury, up into the four-way intersection. Our thought there was that, all of the vehicle trips are going to be coming through that road, through that section of road. It's also, we want to have a Grand Boulevard type feel, so that's where we felt it was pertinent to include some extra width there. And another section of 28-foot wide road that we would be proposing would be from the four-way intersection up the hill into this portion of the site. We felt that that was a bit of an easier ask with the maximum gradient waiver that we're going to get into here in a minute. Moving into parking, we've had a lot of comments on parking as well. So I can quickly touch on, parking as an overall. Every single residential unit, whether it's a one-bedroom, a two-bedroom, or a three-bedroom, there's going to be 2 parking spaces provided for every residential unit. Whether that's 2 parking spaces in the driveway, there's one unit type that has a garage, there would be 1 car in the garage and 1 car right in front of the driveway. So in addition to those 500 parking spaces, we're providing a parking space here at the amenity building for residents to come and go. There's also going to be a leasing component to this building. So, people that are potentially wanting to come and live at Thornton Hill will be able to park here, take a tour of the grounds. And then in addition to those aspects of parking, we're also going to be providing some parallel parking spaces here for the outdoor sport court, the playground, and other outdoor amenities as well. So in addition to those parking facilities, we've had the question come up about, what if someone's having a party at their house, having visitors over for the weekend, et cetera, where are they going to be able to park? We didn't feel that it was ideal to have any parking along the road there. The fire chief objected to that idea, so what we're proposing now is, some pull-in parking spaces at various clusters here, 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 and here. That would be, in the neighborhood of 12 to 14 visitor parking spaces. This wasn't included in the site plan that's been submitted to you all now. This was something that came up with the previous conditional compliance alternative meeting. I think it was the 12th of November. So that's not in your packet now. We're happy to add that. We've looked at it from a drainage perspective, from a pavement perspective, and we're happy to add that if the board feels, that it's pertinent to do so.
John, on the minor roads, what is the curbing like?
What is the who?
Is there curbing on these minor roads, the 24-foot wide?
No, there's
So there's
not.
no granite curbs on each side? Thank you. All right, gentlemen, keep going.
There are, I believe around the amenity building, for building protection, we wanted to have some type of a curb there. So I think we're proposing a concrete curb around the amenity building, just so that, there's no threat of a car, being able to, slip off the road perhaps and go into the building. We felt that there was a safety concern there. So we have limited areas of curbing.
Yeah, so wherever there's parallel parking, there's curbing.
Yes.
So where there is parking, there is curbing.
Yeah, so again, the main roadway going up into the site, that 8%, or excuse me, from Pillsbury to the first intersection, Ben, my recollection, that's 28, and that's curb.
Cape Cod berm, yes, sir.
Correct. Bit curb, and then going up, taking that right, which is actually the last portion of, thank you, Ben, right, that's curved as well, again, due to the
Yes,
the
sir.
slope of the roadway. But all those little clusters, as they go around, that's all open drainage.
Thank you.
One other.
Dee, did you?
That did it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
One other comment that I wanted to make in terms of curbing, we do have an extensive wetland network on the site, and in conversations with the Conservation Commission, just general good practice and design, we're also showing curb wherever we have an adjacent wetland network, so that runoff from the road wouldn't be able to just seep right into the wetland network. It would be caught in the curb and directed to a drainage structure to be routed elsewhere on the site, so that no salt, no oil and grime on the roads would get directly into the wetland network. We're handling that with curbing as well. So some of the feedback we've heard from neighbors and abutters, we've gotten a variety of feedback. Two bits that I just wanted to touch on. The cottage court is the predominant theme for the site. You might be looking at this portion of houses and thinking, well, that's not a cluster. Those are just some houses along the road. We did at one point have a cottage court style cluster here. But in meeting with some of the residents in Kit Lane, they thought about, well, what if there's a bit of a roadway network around here? What about headlights in our backyard? We're not crazy about that idea. So we've listened, we've heard, we've reacted, and we've gotten rid of that cluster in this area. So this area doesn't necessarily conform to the cottage court style feel, but that's because of some feedback that we got from residents.
When this came conceptually, it was laid out as more of a cottage court up there, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct. And, another thing that they brought up was, well, we're not crazy about, houses coming, a little closer to the property line here. Could you tuck those in a bit, make them more internal to the site? And we have done that. So we've provided more of a buffer space between the property line and the backyards of these Kit Lane residents and our proposed units.
Yes, sir.
So to be clear, my recollection of the original.
It was like two separate sections up there, wasn't it?
Right, but it also had what I would call a major roadway almost on the lot line behind the houses on Kit Lane. And what you did was you moved that roadway totally away from that lot line after listening to the neighbors. But in order to do that, you had to sacrifice the cottage court concept.
Yes, sir, that's correct. A bit of the give and take in the design for that area, the residents in that immediate part of the site, what's their open space going to be? Where are they going to be able to go? Let the dog out and all that kind of good stuff. It would be essentially, there's a lot of open space and amenities just immediately to the south with the amenity clubhouse, further south with the sport court and the field and the playground as well. So we felt that there were some amenities and some open space and some features in close proximity to them that justified moving away from the cottage court in that part of the site.
Right, so thank you for working with the neighbors and making those adjustments.
Yeah, absolutely. One other bit of info I wanted to touch on in regards to the neighbors and abutters. The walking trail network that you'll see that, cuts through the site that Eric had touched on previously, we had previously shown some connections to the neighbors, adjacent neighborhoods. Here in Kit Lane, we previously had a walking trail that it came out to Hovey Road around here, perhaps, and we got some negative feedback on that. People were not crazy about that idea. So we've listened, we've reacted, and we've kept the walking trail network to be more internal to the site, not necessarily making any kind of additional connections apart from.
Gentlemen, hold on one sec. Jason.
I just have a question on the walking trails, since you brought them up. You'd mentioned that public access to the walking trails, correct? Is there any public parking available in here? Because my concern is if they're available to the public, but there's no place for the public to park, They're gonna start parking in your visitor lots, they're gonna start parking along the roads, which are already 24 feet, potentially parking on Pillsbury Road. So if you've got public access, is there a way for the public to actually access it?
It's a good question. Like Ben said earlier, I think we have plenty of parking on the site. The main intent of these walking trails is that residents that live at Woodmont Commons or residents that live within this this development can have interconnection between each other. If people are from a different part of Londonderry and they want to come in this area, we would assume they probably park at Woodmont Commons, south of Pillsbury, but we do also have, the parallel parking near the tennis courts, and we do have a parking lot up there that is more than sufficient for what we need here, so there could be public access there as well.
So like that parking won't be posted as visitor and resident only?
Not that we thought about, no. So, yeah, it would be open.
Okay, thank you.
Keep going.
I think that's pretty much it, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to note that, there's been a certain evolution of the walking trail network. We've gotten a lot of feedback from the state as well, DES, with our standard dredge and fill permit, the wetlands permit. We've been told to get our impacts down, and so we've, done that with, moving a trail here or there, eliminating a crossing where we can, and things of that nature.
Thank you.
So getting into the waiver request now, we do have a waiver request that we're seeking tonight. When we initially went through for design review, or our first round of design review, we had a list of 4 waivers that we were seeking. We've worked hard to get that list down, and now we're only seeking 1 waiver, and it pertains to maximum grade on streets. So this waiver request specifically is from the Londonderry Subdivision Regulations, Section 3.09, Part R for road design. This isn't necessarily a regulation that we're just asking to get relief from. There's a criteria that we can go through in order to seek this waiver. There's a certain outline of requirements that you would have to meet in order to go for a maximum gradient that's more than what would typically be allowed. So some of that criteria: 500 feet of maximum length per section. We're currently showing 2 sections that are less than 500 feet. 1 section of 450 feet and 1 section of 84 feet. 8% is the maximum gradient allowed per the constraints of the waiver. Standard is 6% based on what type of road you're talking about. So getting into why we feel that these waivers are pertinent and necessary to the site. A lot of it on this side, on the right-hand side, comes down to the existing topography. If anyone's ever been out to the site, it actually is really striking and it's beautiful out there, and there's a lot of rolling hills and rolling terrain that's just not that great for road design, unfortunately. So we have some 13% existing grade, 15% existing grade. That's just, taking a snapshot of what the grades are from the hill coming down. The existing contours are a little light on that picture, so I apologize for that. But it varies, around that area. It's necessary to in order to minimize our disturbance, our cut and fill numbers, to, follow that slope as best we can. The maximum allowable is 8%. So our thought is, getting down the hill as best we can with, minimal disturbance in terms of our earthwork. That we've also gone through an evolution in terms of, there was another building here previously. There were some parking spaces that we were showing in this vicinity. Our peer reviewing engineer, Hoyle Tanner, as well as the town staff noted, that's really not a great spot for parallel parking. And so we've done away with that. We have no parking in this vicinity. It's essentially just an intersection with a cluster road and then a section of 8% down to the 4-way intersection. So that's the right-hand side of the street. The left-hand side of the street, we have a different consideration, a different constraint to work around. We have an existing intermittent stream on site. What that means essentially is there's a ditch on site that is not permanently wet, but it's only wet after a big storm event. When there's a lot of runoff that comes through, drains down to the duck pond. It goes, pretty much along the property line here and through this section. So in order to get this road in, we needed to have a stream crossing, excuse me. And the best way to do that, in our opinion, was a box culvert. So we're going to be placing a concrete box culvert there in order to get that stream crossing. A lot of the constraints and a lot of the variables with that box culvert, we really can't change. In terms of where that box culvert would sit vertically, we can't have it too low down. We can't have it too high up. It has to essentially sit on the stream bed. Otherwise, you'd have issues with, a hydrologic jump and, other, flow issues that we really didn't want to have to deal with. So from a vertical perspective, it has to sit where it has to sit, which is on the stream bed. In terms of sizing, we really didn't have much say over that either. We did our drainage analysis. We got some feedback from the state, from our AOT permit, as well as from the standard dredge and fill permit. Because it's a stream crossing, there's certain criteria that we have to think about. You have to take the bank full width and, add some space there. So there are a lot of things that go into designing that box culvert. We really, there's not too much flexibility there in terms of how big the box culvert can be. It has to be what it has to be in order to accommodate the flows that we're seeing, or that we're projecting to see there. And so on top of, the box culvert being, more strict and not really flexible, we have to get our Londonderry standard roadway section in there. In addition to the pavement, there are other gravel sections underneath, and it adds up to about 2 feet vertically of space in order to get that road in. So we have our box culvert 4 feet high. The walls of the box culvert themselves, there's some space there, and then another 2 feet essentially to get the road in. So by being up high, we have to climb up just in order to clear this box culvert. So we're accomplishing that by going 8% for 84 feet. So those are some of the considerations that go into why we're asking for a waiver request here.
Is that intersection going to be two-way stop, four-way stop?
We're looking at a 4-way stop.
Good plan.
Can I ask you a couple of questions?
Go ahead.
For one thing, the name of the project is Thornton Hill.
Yes.
We do have a Thornton Road in town. Did you know that? I was just wondering if the safety committee or the fire department has recognized that.
Not to my knowledge. We have been asked to provide street names. The main loop road that will serve the interior of the site, we're proposing to call Thornton Hill Road.
Right.
Thornton Hill Road.
Hill Ave or something like that.
Is that right? Thornton Hill Ave, yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering if the police, the fire department has looked into that. Just because they've had issues with the road to the north of, I should say the path to the north of it, Spring Road. It was bisected into 2 sections, and they had to name the center portion something else. And get rid of the right side of that road name. So I just want to make sure that there won't be any conflict between the Thornton Road that's off of Wilshire, the Wilshire area, Pillsbury, on the other end of Pillsbury Road, and your project.
Yeah, I appreciate the comment. We had looked through all the streets, and we had provided the street names with this site plan submission. We didn't get any comments back from police or fire on that, but we can definitely regroup with them if that's desired.
I had a couple other questions, too. On Hovey Road, the residents there or who's ever driving by will see a lot of the back ends of buildings. How are you going to handle that? I'm not sure what's happening on the back ends of buildings, what you have planned. So could you comment on what's going on along Hovey Road?
So the nice thing about the houses, Keith went through this, I'm just gonna jump around for a minute, is that with the, most of the houses are designed that there's actually 2 fronts to them. So there's a front that faces the road, and then there's a front that faces the cottage court style. So whether you're on an external part of the loop for the cottage court or you're on the inside, all the houses still do have 2 front entrances. So when you're driving down Hovey Road, it doesn't look like you're looking at the back of a house.
It's a front end on the back and also a front end on the front?
Yeah, there will be porches and other aspects to those houses.
Okay, I'm just curious, there's no fence or anything along Hovey?
There aren't any fences on Hovey currently. There's a nice row of trees, that are in pretty good shape. Our grading limits aren't going to infringe upon those trees. We're hoping to save that section of trees there.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I appreciate that. A few other questions. Up in the north section, there is something called a gravel drive right on the top northwest corner.
Yes, let me just pull that slide up.
Could you explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we've had some coordination with Penachuk. They do have a 20-foot wide transmission line easement that runs the length of the property from the north, coming from this water tower that was recently installed, down to a transmission main which runs along Pillsbury Road. The internal plumbing, if you will, the internal water mains will connect up to an 8-inch stub in this vicinity, but not to the transmission main. Pennachuck wanted to have access to all of the valves that they would need to service or, use in any instance. So these would be, essentially, they would be cross-country valves that would be just out in space, out in the field, and they didn't really like that idea. They wanted them to be serviceable. So it's not meant to be a connection for residents. It's not meant to be a connection for, residents to drive on. It's just merely a gravel access road for utility purposes for Pennachuck to be able to access their valves.
Where would the road go from your property? Just north into the Pennachuck area?
That's correct, yeah.
Because right now, there's a lot of large stones blocking that.
Yeah, the intent would be that we can only do what's on our property, so we would continue the gravel road to the edge of our property, and then there's a stone wall there. We have no intention of touching the stone wall. From there, that's off our property. But they had asked for the gravel road just on our property.
And that'll be loamed and seeded, so it's not as obvious as a gravel driveway. That was one of your details.
Yes.
I mean, you could also do grassy pavers if you want to put a truck across it. I mean,
We've thought about that as well. So, yeah, we're open and flexible. If the board or John has any other input there.
So there won't be any
But we've
public,
done elsewhere.
there won't be any trail through there for the public, for the residents, okay. Let's see.
The neighbors had asked for us to not put a trail to that, so we had listened to the neighbors, and that's why it's not a trail there. We can't control where everyone walks, but that is the intent there, is that our internal system for trails is only within there, but it's not to connect to
Okay.
that northern portion.
Also, you have a stone dust path with a crosswalk at Michael's Way. So is that going to be used year-round? Or, year-round, wintertime and all? So will it be available for the residents? Or, I'm just curious.
The intent is that it could be used year-round. We wouldn't look to plow it. Maybe it could be snowshoes or something of that sort. It's going to be a recreational trail.
Yeah.
So that would be the intent. It matches the seasonality of the site. But we would not look to plow it and add salt there.
And-
A lot of these go through wetlands, so we wouldn't look to.
And the crosswalk goes right over into Michael's Way? Is that what you're proposing?
There's an existing sidewalk on that western side of Michael's Way. That's kind of why we placed the walking trail where it is, in order to connect into an existing sidewalk.
Okay.
On the other side of the street.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yep.
Mr. D.
is the young lady waiting for something? I don't know what.
Traffic.
Oh, I'm sorry. She
was coming.
This is Ashley.
She was coming up. They're still presenting.
I understand that, but, I mean, are we
Yes.
okay? I feel bad that should we not be asking questions now, or what do you want to do?
Are you gentlemen done with your presentation would be my first
We have
question.
two or three more slides.
So we got a little bit more to go.
Question?
Yeah, but.
You already did.
Yes.
5 questions?
Two.
2?
You can ask 3 more later.
Oh, wait, thank you.
Okay.
This is Ashley, our traffic engineer, and she's going to
Hey,
speak
Ashley,
to
sorry.
some of the traffic points.
All right, so brief overview of the traffic study work so far. We submitted the traffic study for 36 Pillsbury in July, compliant with the local standards for traffic studies. It includes the 5 study area intersections seen in the figure, as well as the site driveway based on conversations with the town. We looked at existing conditions as well as future conditions without and with the project to determine the project impacts. And as part of this traffic impact study, it includes the impacts of 36 Pillsbury and 44 Pillsbury as a background project. So we received the peer review comments from Hoyle Tanner in August and recently submitted our response to comments in November. We have ongoing coordination with the town, Pillsbury Realty, and Hoyle Tanner regarding traffic mitigation. The major piece of traffic mitigation we're proposing is a westbound right turn lane at the intersection of Pillsbury and Gilcrest. That mitigates the impacts of this project as well as 44 Pillsbury. And so we're coordinating with the town on if they would like to do that or go into longer term alternatives.
Thank you.
So that's it.
Gentlemen.
So, Mr. Chair, I apologize. 15, I said we were looking for a continuance, and we were looking for a waiver request. I didn't officially say that for 36 as well, but we'd be in the same boat for 36 Pillsbury. Obviously, we have the team here. We wanted to give the presentation today, but we do want to have conversations with the town staff. Town staff has been phenomenal so far, so we want to be able to, we got the conditions this afternoon. Obviously, this is a very large job, so we'd like to be able to have a little bit cleaner conversation here in front of this board, and be able to work through those conditions over the next couple weeks here. And look forward to hearing your comments.
Thank you. All right. I will, can we start with staff real quick, and then I will come to the board.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, as Will and Ben have very well described what this project is all about. I think as far as staff, personally myself, I've been getting numerous questions, and I've been doing the best I can. First of all, again, I'm not going to go through each and every one of the engineering comments. Regarding the waiver request, at this time, staff does support the waiver request for the, if you recall the way that he had drawn it out, the Thornton Hill Ave portion, the right-hand side. Staff would support that waiver request at this time. On the Liberty Court side, at this time, I have not seen sufficient design information to draw support for that particular portion. Again, as you can see where the blue ends on the right-hand side, it turns white. And again, the idea is so that there ends up, they're coming down the hill and then they have a plateau. I don't see that on the left-hand side, and like I say, I think there's just insufficient information right now for engineering to support that portion of the waiver request. Additionally, that's part of 46 Pillsbury development. I think we'll be seeing that in the future. Just a couple of the other items. There, again, throughout the design, there's insufficient separation or cover. In accordance with the regulations, there appears to be no separation between some of the sewer main and box culverts, between the water main and the box culverts, and also the plans indicate sewer main, sewer and water mains going through the box culverts throughout the project. There are concerns regarding outlet control structure details. Again, per the town and Londonderry typical details for site and roadway infrastructure, the typical outlet structure at the detention basin should be used for all detention basins, as Ben, as well as the architect, had indicated numerous times. Those are detention basins. They're not just, so again, they're not only for water quality, so they need to construct those basins in accordance with those outlet control structures in accordance with the town's standards. Some of the information on some of those outlet control structures are also incomplete at this time. The applicant should provide the best management workshop worksheets for the filteras. The applicant should provide detailed design criteria for these treatment devices, including sub-catchment areas. So on that roadway coming down, the main drag coming down into Pillsbury Road, they're proposing some of these filtera. I'll leave it at that. My big concern is all that water coming down that roadway and those devices not being able to handle a 25-year storm. And we're having a heck of a problem at the intersection of Pillsbury Road and this. So again, it's something that we'll have to work out. And as I indicated, both Ben and the architect has reiterated numerous times that those are to be detention basins, so we need to work at that. A couple of the other items that I just want to talk about, the additional parking that Will kind of talked about, we had discussed that during one of the design review meetings that we had. So again, as Ben indicated, we need to look at the drainage. We'll have to look at what the impact to the landscaping would be. And lastly, again, you have to look at your parking calculations and how that your shared parking works with that. The pedestrian landings at the street crossings, again, throughout the plan, and again, because I've looked at this plan, obviously, the landings where the stone dust paths cross the paved roadways, again, they're proposing that still be a stone dust path. I would recommend that the applicant look at making at least a concrete apron in there, so that way when they're coming to the roadway, there's a surface there, it's not being washed out. Again, this is all open drainage. They need to look at it a little closer. I know that there's some concerns about it being, considered ADA accessible and all that stuff. I get it, but again, it would be my recommendation that they should look at that a little closer. Lastly, Will, again, you and I have talked about this. This will also require a soils management plan. Again, because of the nature of the orchard, they need to look at that. They have identified some areas throughout the site that they call a potential soil storage area. We need to look at that. Is that where that material is going? And if not, or if that's going to be an earthen berm to help the people on Kit Lane, what happens with the drainage? You don't want to lock those people into, all that water stays on their side, and it needs to be addressed. Lastly, the berms associated with the screening for the cemeteries. Those are where the discharges to our detention ponds are up at the cemetery. So there should be some provisions made for handling that stormwater that's coming out, so that those berms stay intact, and once they're constructed, they're at a 3-to-1 slope, vegetated, and they stay like that. It keeps its intent. That's all I have right now.
Thank you. Kelly?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just to reiterate, with respect to the conceptual parking that was discussed this evening, we'll need to review that to ensure it's compliant with the parking calcs per the PUD, and also take a look at how it may or may not impact the existing landscaping that's proposed in the plan in front of you. With respect to the DRC comments, the conservation and heritage comments are provided in the memorandum. Specific to the conservation comment, a question was raised during the design review process about the conservation overlay and its applicability. Our zoning administrator did weigh in on that and provided a determination that the overlay district ordinance was adopted in 2001, at which time this parcel, 36 Pillsbury Road, existed as a buildable residential lot, and therefore that portion of the ordinance is not applicable in this instance. The heritage comment, as you see, is recommended favorably, and that's all I have for now.
Thank you. Could we talk a little bit about traffic, Mr. Mulholland, if you want to come join us?
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about what the town is working with with regards to.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. As visible as he's been since his
That's
the
true.
start, there are some
Yes.
people in the audience have no idea. who this
Absolutely.
gentleman is.
Mr. Town Manager, good evening. How are you?
Thanks, sir.
But
Thank
those
you,
of
Mr.
here
P.
and on TV, this is your town manager.
If you could discuss a little bit about what the town is working with Procopio with regards to the traffic on Pillsbury, Gilcrest. I know that we've got quite a bit in the works there.
For the record, my name is Sean Mulholland, and I am the town manager of the town of Londonderry, and I'm here in that capacity. So the discussions we have had with them, as you have seen in, I believe you've read the reports, and you see the indication that the traffic mitigation that is called for, based on the planned development, the amount of trips per day that would create, calls for a slip lane, a right turn lane, as you're coming from the Derry direction or the Woodmont direction, as you approach the Gilcrest intersection. A slip lane that would turn to the right. In other words, a separate lane to allow for that right turn traffic to travel through. That is the mitigation that is called for the number of vehicle traffic coming through there. That is what VHB came up with that assessment. The peer review that was conducted by HTA, which is the firm that we hired, came to the same conclusion. That is the mitigation that would be appropriate for this location. The concern I have with that is that really is not going to solve the long-term problems for that location. Obviously, the town has grown since the time that Woodmont was originally developed. There's other developments that have occurred in the area. Woodmont traffic has obviously added traffic through there as well. So we could have a situation where they would build that right turn slip lane, and then a few years later, when Woodmont further develops or other developments occur in the area, we'd have to tear all that out and have other improvements, which does not, to me, make a whole lot of sense. So what I'm trying to do is develop a situation where that requirement, they could do that at a minimum, meet their requirements and do that, or the other option would be to give us the same dollar value for that to allow us to make other improvements at that intersection, more long-term, more comprehensive solutions, whether that be a traffic signal, or that be some other type of lane configuration, or that be a roundabout. I don't know what that's going to be. Nobody does, because the engineering has not been done for that. As Engineer Trottier stated, we have asked for the land around that to be given that easement so we can make those improvements in the future. The other part of that is Woodmont, in my view, is going to have to be involved with those discussions, and I've already initiated those discussions with them, that they're going to be part of that solution, and there's going to be a financial contribution from them to do that. That all has to be figured out. So what we have talked about is giving option A and option B. They can't wait around to be able to do their development, so at the minimum, they have option A, or whatever number you want to call it, to build a slip lane, or two, give us those funds to put in escrow that we could use for matching funds in Woodmont, and whatever the town would be responsible for, because there's already background traffic there. There's other developments across the town that have impacted that intersection. It has to be proportional, equitably proportioned amongst all the parties that are involved. I don't know what that looks like yet, because we haven't done those calculations, haven't done that work yet. So that's, we've started those conversations. They agree that that makes sense to do that, and we've been working with them to try to finalize that. Any such public-private partnership would have to be approved by the town council. And they know nothing about this yet. It hasn't gone before them. Councilor Faber's the only one, obviously, on this board that has some inkling about that. So we'd have to get this to a point where I can actually present something to them. Don't know how long that would take. But again, this is the start of that process, so we can get a much better solution for that intersection that is more effective for the town in the long run, instead, again, making improvements that have to be torn out a few years because of the development that's occurring. If that helps to articulate it for you, sir.
It does. Could I, if you don't mind, get the representative from Woodmont? I thought he was here. I don't see him. Kevin, are you here?
He's in the back.
Could you come up? Mr. Smith, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Kevin Smith, representing Pillsbury Realty.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. We're talking about a potential partnership with Woodmont Procopio and the town of Londonderry. Is Woodmont committed to working with the town of Londonderry to come up with a traffic solution here?
Yeah, 100%. As Sean mentioned, we've had preliminary discussions about this, and we have to take a look in totality of all the different intersections. Woodmont did a base study back when the PUD was being approved in 2013. It has since done a couple of updated studies looking at the intersections that were originally studied. The most recent one was, I think, earlier this year, which is on file with the town. So absolutely, we're committed to doing it. Procopio and us have talked about it. And I would agree with the town manager, even though the mitigation shows that for this particular project, the right-hand slip lane is what's warranted, it's really a Band-Aid solution. And I think it would be far better serving for the town and all of the developments to have a permanent solution to some of these intersections that are going to be long-lasting into the future. And as the town manager mentioned, there has to be proportional shares in sharing in the cost of doing such.
Thank you. Mr. Town Manager, you mind jumping up again real quick?
You got it.
That should be good. Thank you. I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. What's the best way I want to word this? Traffic is an existing issue in this area, correct?
Correct.
There will be added traffic because of the development. the town of Londonderry's third-party review company has said that, and again, we're talking specific to the traffic of this development, not the existing traffic. We're talking about the traffic that is going to be added to this development. The town's third-party review has said is warranted a right turn slip lane, which is ultimately what their engineer had also recommended, correct?
Yeah, so their engineer put that together, made that assessment, and our engineer reviewed that, and that makes sense. That is the appropriate mitigation to be done. And you can only make them responsible for the number of vehicles that are going to come from their product. Right.
Correct.
You can't make them liable for everything else that's occurred around there.
Correct. So, and I'm going to open this back up to I'm going to open this to the board in a minute, but just to further the conversation that we're talking about with conditions, we can say, applicant, we want you to make the improvement that is just specific to your development based off of the traffic generated from your development. Or we can take a broader picture at this, which has been discussed in depth throughout my longest time being on the board here, of a more wholesome approach that is not just dealing with traffic that is going to be new, but dealing with an issue as a whole and bringing everything together, correct?
Yeah, if you look at the traffic study, and I'm sure you have,
Oh, yeah.
some of those legs are at, level of service F.
Correct.
With the proposed development that's coming in there. Most of that is not the new the vehicles per day. It's the existing traffic, especially at the PM weekday travel period in the afternoon.
Correct.
It's already at condition F, which is the lowest. You have a failing intersection. So the evidence is clearly there. You drive through there, you can see it yourself. Something needs to be done. And I don't want us to pay for all of it. So I want to make sure that we proportionally make it equitable for the developers that are producing those impacts, pay their fair share, but to only their fair share, and then we have some liability with that too. How much that's going to be, that has to be calculated out, and we're going to have to figure that out. And that's going to take a little bit of work to do that.
Thank you. Before the town manager sits back down, I'll try not to ask him up again. Does anybody have any questions related to the traffic and the proposed conditions that are on our memorandum?
I'd like to say it a different way.
That's what I've been trying to do.
So an additional third or fourth way.
It's three times.
Just to beat the horse. So we can tell the developer, build this slip lane that cost X number of dollars. Or we can try and do a cooperative thing where we get the three parties together to do a more permanent solution for the future instead of what we need for today. Essentially, the applicant would be paying for something that in a very short amount of time is going to end up getting ripped out when the town comes to terms with what needs to be done. And at that point, the town is on the hook for probably close to 100% of it.
The burden is then on the town.
So the burden is then on the town. So one person's opinion, it certainly makes sense to take a deep breath here and let's see if we can get that cooperative agreement together to see how, when, where, why, to mitigate or not, depending on what the research shows. And that makes perfect sense to me.
Thank you. Does anybody have anything for the town manager?
Well,
I want
kind of everybody.
I want to stick with our questions for the TM to get this out of the way, and then we'll come back. We'll address presentation, applicant, all that. I want to get with what the town manager has discussed.
How long, you don't have a magic ball, but does that probably take a year to figure out?
I would hope not.
Okay.
I don't think it should. But again, we got to work with the engineering firms, and we've got to do the work. We got to do it. I don't know how long it's going to take, and there's going to be, I'm sure, some debate about the proportionality, right, and what the criteria is going to be. I want to pay the least amount I have to pay. They want to pay the least amount they want to have to pay, right? That's going to be the sticking point, right? And again, I have a whole town council that we haven't even discussed this with them yet, and they have to be able to have time to digest that. I got to get something and a plan that they can read and understand and digest.
And couldn't we make that as a condition of approval that that they work with the other people, because I mean, there's some relation there, right? I mean, they're all kind of related and working together. Because my fear is that this development goes in, and, you know, there's a lot of red tape with you know, government work and different things, that this doesn't get done, and now we have 250 houses, and we have a worse intersection.
Winds up like the unfinished walking path next to the duck pond from
Right,
2019.
same thing, yeah.
Correct.
I mean,
I think, and please, either you help me out if I'm wrong here. One of the way this number one, this precedent condition is set here, gives us the ability to do that. They have a traffic impact that they need to mitigate. The question that we have is, do we want them to mitigate it now, or do we want to, you know, whatever that dollar value is, do we want to put it in escrow so that way the town can work with the town, Procopio, and Woodmont to say, well, this is what they need to do, but this is what needs to happen. Let's work on what needs to happen instead of just what they need to do.
no, and I agree with that. I'm worried about the timing, and if they get really quick with these houses, and then there's squabbling parties about who's paying for what, and we're still stuck here, and we got houses going up, and there's no fixed intersection. So that's when, like, I'm thinking maybe like a contingency that gets fixed according to our specifications.
So correct me if I'm wrong. It's the same amount of money they're paying no matter what. It either goes into escrow or it goes to fix the intersection, depending on which way we go. But they're paying that no matter what. It doesn't matter how slow or fast that project goes. They're paying it. We're just saying that
I think what
it does,
he's asking is,
So-
hold on one sec, Kelly. I think what he's asking is, she hates when I do that. I agree.
Keep talking.
You don't want this thing to get to 80% completion and there is still no impact, no mitigation
If it
done
was
to
up
the
to me,
road.
I wouldn't have a single resident live there
Yeah.
until the intersection was fixed.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
that-
It's a condition of approval, the way it's worded.
Correct.
So that means it has to be completed prior to plan signature. They can't construct anything until their plans are signed.
If we do that, but it's not currently like that.
It's framed that way currently in the
Okay.
memorandum before you. However, just as a reminder, the applicant has asked for continuance.
Right.
Yes.
So you don't need to make that decision right now.
Okay.
That's,
Thank you, John.
Yes.
Thank you, sorry.
Thank you.
Well, first, the-
Anything for the TM?
I got one other question for the town manager. So what is the criteria that allows you to approach it in this manner? The payment into a escrow in a public-private partnership? What's the criteria that allows us to approach it this way?
A public-private partnership, it's like a development agreement.
Okay.
We're allowed to enter into those with them.
So where there's...
When I say we, the town council does that. I don't have the unilateral authority to do that.
Okay. So where there's other projects like this that get proposed in the future in the town, we could approach it the same way and have more permanent, more sustainable fixes?
It makes a whole lot of sense to do that, to work with people, to be able to find what is the best solution for the town, instead of just, we could take an isolationist approach and say, we're only going to be dealing with this one project, and we're going to let them build the slip lane, and then, but we all know we've got to make other improvements. So it makes a lot more sense to try to find a better global solution for everybody. And again, the town council has to agree to it, and they haven't even talked about it yet.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think this is a great way to approach it.
Anything for the TM before we get back to general questions?
I think we're on the right track anyway, so.
Mr. Town Manager, thank you. All right, yes, sir.
So we just have some, these conditions as written were just presented to us today, so we just do have some concerns about the way it's framed. First, it being a precedent condition, so this is pretty open-ended and pretty undetermined right now. And it's one of the reasons we want to take the time to work with the town, but I want you to just consider the way we're thinking about this, which is, it's very similar to the way it was discussed. We have a responsibility to mitigate the impacts of the development, and the slip lane was what was determined as an appropriate solution. If we took all of the bigger picture, which we obviously can't take away, but if we took that away for a moment, that's the mitigation that would be appropriate for the project. We have initial cost estimates of that work from our engineering team, because obviously we have to budget for that, of about $200,000, plus there'll be the cost of designing it, plus you have to factor some contingency into it. So what we thought would be appropriate as a condition here, because I think it's going to take a significant amount of time and back and forth, and very difficult for us to be sure that we would get to an agreement on what is a proportional and fair share proposal, that we would create a condition. And it really, we think it should be a general and subsequent condition. We think this as a precedent condition is a bit of a challenge, but a condition where we put that same amount of money, and we can debate the exact dollar amount, but for us, we're proposing about $300,000, which is the cost of the construction, design, and some contingency, into escrow, that the town could either, have available to build the slip lane, or contribute it towards a greater improvement. That way, we're not caught in the potential, as we talk about, this could take a year. That would be a big problem for us if we can't even figure out how to get to a solution here. So we just, like to take that up for consideration, that we find a way to get to a solution here. And that's something we're going to try to talk to staff about. We didn't want to have this turn into a big public discussion, but it just did. That's the way we're thinking about it, we just need to make sure that we have a path towards some certainty in making it expeditious.
Which is certainly understandable. Kelly or John, do you have anything to that?
I'll just note that the condition is written as an or, meaning it's one or the other. It's the agreement or the slip lane. But I understand why they want to discuss that further. Staff has no issue with that, continuing it and having those discussions. We're open to that, so.
Of course.
I think it's most appropriate that we have those give them continuance, and we'll continue our discussions.
All right, board. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Couple things. Number one, I have no problem with the 8%. And I want the board to refresh their memory that we did turn down something that was greater than 6% just recently, but that was because it was dirt, gravel, as opposed to paving. And so I'm certainly okay with the 8% as long as police and fire are okay with it. So I don't want people to get hung up on, well, we refused it once, what's up with that? Well, it was because that was a dirt road, it was a Class 6 road, it was a totally different thing. I really like John's comment about the pads at the end and beginning of the stone paths. I think it makes sense. I think where you have open drainage, I think it certainly makes even more sense. I think you'll agree. So I hope you take a look at that. So for the general public, this project, other than the way you've done it, and I think you've designed a really efficient and, to my mind, a good-looking project. But I want everybody to understand that at the end of 2013 and 2014, the PUD was approved, and this sector in the PUD, to my memory, was always going to be housing. So this is really not a departure from much more than what was approved in 2013 and 2014. And I'm saying that out loud because for the last day and a half or so, the social media has been blazing, for lack of a better term, for with people not understanding that that side of the street is also part of the PUD. And again, for people's clarification, it's online on the town website, the entire plan, the whole thing, however many pages it is. It's a lot. I have a printed one. I don't know why I did that, but it's huge. And so this should not be a surprise, other than to people who are new, moving in, don't understand that this 130 acres-ish, give or take, project was approved by the town council in that time frame, the end of 2013, the beginning of 2014. And this land that we're talking about tonight was designed to have housing. The PUD made sense for the 130 acres because you have a plan outside of the normal regulations that allows for things to make sense. Instead of a helter-skelter approach, 130, well, I'll put a street here and I'll put 5 houses and I'll do this there and I'll, whatever. It made sense in 2013, 2014. People are gonna argue, does it make sense today? Does it make sense, whatever. I'm just saying, this was always in the plan. And people need to keep that in mind. Now, that said, this is gonna be rental housing, correct?
That's correct.
And it's not, so they're not condos, they're not owned, you're hesitating a little bit though.
No, this particular parcel,
That-
just so people don't get confused,
No, the
44
one
is
we're
going to be
talking
next
about
month.
right now.
This is rental.
It's all rental. And so there's gonna be no HOA because it's rentals. You can't have a homeowners association if they don't own it, okay? However, there has to be somebody there that's in charge. So I assume that whoever is running the property is gonna have somebody there to do things like tell people, hey, you can't park on that road. Or, hey, you know, whatever. You can't have a 30-foot trampoline on 3 neighbors' houses. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you can think of it a lot like the way almost an apartment building would be run. There is a manager, there is maintenance staff, you know, there's probably typically 3-4 people on staff, you know, during the day, and all sorts of professional services, whether it's landscaping, trash, other things like that. So it's run like a fully comprehensive development.
Right, and so there will be an on-site, not 24 hours, but on-site staff person controlling chaos, for lack of a better term, if there is any.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's keep that in mind as well. Now, my recollection, I was flipping through all kinds of paperwork this afternoon trying to find it, and I couldn't. But this is going to be sewer, yes?
That's correct.
And so you need to in order to do the sewer, don't you need to take advantage of the pumping station?
That is correct.
And so
As of right now, yes.
And so, Mr. Chair, didn't we approve the pumping station
Yeah.
a while
Yeah.
ago?
Yes.
It might have been 2 years ago.
Where's the pumping station?
Last year or the year before?
The contract should be signed with the contractor this month.
Okay.
So the construction, the final completion is 18 to 24 months out.
2 years for a pumping station,
Yep.
okay? So they're gonna have no occupancy then for 2 years, for any of it.
Correct.
This is another reason why we'd like to have further discussions with town staff. Because that's obviously a challenge for us.
Can I continue?
Mhm.
John, sorry, is the pumping station designed?
Oh, yeah.
It's all designed?
It's been bid out, and we're ready to sign the contract. Remember the government shutdown?
Vaguely.
Yeah. Well, get entangled with that,
Got it.
with HUD. I will stop there.
So 2 years isn't unreasonable.
No? Have you ever built a pump station?
Yeah,
I know somebody who
Yeah.
has. 2 years is not unreasonable?
not even close to unreasonable.
Okay. I'm good. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Not a problem, Lynn.
Does the 2 years include the sewer line going up?
Yeah.
So that's the whole project?
That's the whole project,
Okay,
correct.
so it's a little bit more than just a pumping station.
Yeah, you need a pump station, and you need someplace to
Yep.
discharge it, so.
Yep, okay. I had a couple of unrelated questions. One is, what's your plan for residents picking up mail? Are they going to have a central mail kiosk, or are they going to have post office boxes out by the street?
The amenity building will be, will have all the mail and packages. We've talked to the postmaster at Londonderry, and they don't want to go to every house. Rightfully so, with 250 new houses, so all the mail will go to that one amenity building.
And I'm just going to agree with John on the 8% gradient. I live on a hill, and I rode
Yep.
tees at a stop sign into a stone wall, and had at least one car every winter doesn't make the stop sign, just slides right through the intersection into the stone walls. So I'm not sure what we can do about that, but I'm not a big fan of an 8% grade. 6% on a snowy day like we had yesterday, doable, but 8%, you're relying on the skill of the drivers, and that's not always a good thing.
Ben would like to speak to it, but for the record, I live on a 15% grade, so
Yeah.
get me done.
Yeah, exactly.
The salt next to the brook is the more concerning part.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing too, is, there's some,
The copious amount of
Detention
salt will
ponds.
take the grade for that grade,
yeah, there's a detention pond right there that's gonna be picking up all the salt, so.
where the culvert goes.
Another component that goes into the waiver request, one of the provisions that's listed out in the subdivision reg speaks to an adjacent grade that can't be too extreme. John, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're not allowed to have an adjacent gradient to that 8% section greater than 3% or so, so that, it's not a steep 8% section and then another, somewhat steep section of 6%, 5%, whatever. So we're complying in that sense with that provision. 8% grade and then more gentle grades on either side for both sections of road where we're asking for the waiver.
Thank you.
That's it.
Anything else from the board? Yes, sir.
I just want to make a comment on the Tony's point. I saw a lot of things online as well, and I share some of the concerns of the resident. And I was not paying attention in 2013, and I know that when people see 250 homes, that they're worried. But I've also heard a lot of people since I've been on this board that they're looking for. Their kids can't afford places in this town and can't afford homes in this town. And I feel that this would probably be more equitable and for kids to stay in town as a starter home. I mean, of course, there'll be people, not everybody's it's going to be a starter home for everybody, but I do think that people have asked for that. I'm sure we'll hear about that, but I know that people have asked for, other less expensive rental homes to be built. And I think that fills those people that are looking for that. And I know there are a number of people that just don't want any more building. But I think that ship has sailed, is what I'm hearing. So I just want to make that clarification.
Jason, thank you, sir.
Getting back to the trails and the connection to Woodmont, how do you see that crosswalk going? Is it gonna be a lighted crosswalk?
Yeah,
Just to fend for yourself trying to cross.
our expectation was to have it be an RRFB, the flashing light signs.
Okay, thank you.
Jeff?
What are you projecting for school-aged children in this development?
We have not done any school-age children projections. So, I mean, I would imagine it's more than a apartment building and less than, a for sale development would be, but.
Do you have a baseline of similar developments that you've seen?
My experience has been, it's so dependent upon the development mix and the location. This actually is not this is a product I have not, put forward and seen in this market. This is done elsewhere, but not here. So I really couldn't make a projection.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board before I go to the public?
Just want to note, in the, Tony's very correct, in the PUD master plan for Woodmont. Woodmont has its own master plan, its own site regulations, site plan regs, and subdivision regs. So that's what is the controlling factor of this, and that area is planned for residential housing because of the residences around there. There's a maximum number of 1,436 dwelling units that are permitted in the Woodmont PUD.
And how many are there now?
What's there, 250 at all?
250,
I think we're-
There's-
Total PUD, just over 1,000,
There's 1,000 now?
including this 250, or 250 plus the 62
Would it be
250
I believe
plus
there's
the
400
62 puts us at,
remaining last I calculated.
so per the PUD, with this in, there still is 400 or
About,
so
that's my
units
estimate.
allowed
Yeah.
within wherever the residential sections are of the existing PUD.
That's my best estimate.
Does Baldwin count as Housing
No.
units or-
I don't think so.
That's separate.
Separate.
All right.
Okay, can I?
Yes, sir.
Just, so I get it, if for some reason this doesn't pass or they decide not to build this, right? Can they automatically just get approved to build what's already been approved? So what's up there right now, right, is that because it's already been approved?
Could they go back from the compliance alternate?
Correct.
I don't think so.
So what's on your screen is the original concept
Yeah.
for this particular sub-area of the PUD. It still requires a site
Site
plan
plan, yeah.
approval. If you're asking about the compliance alternative
I think
that this
that's what he's
specific
asking.
project received, if they deter from that in their proposal, then yes, they would need to adjust their plan or come back with a different alternative, compliance alternative, and go through that process again.
So the compliance alternate is specific to this project.
Correct.
But I think, John, what you're asking though, John, is what you see on the screen, could they
Yeah.
build that?
Right.
So
Not necessarily, because once they do the engineering and everything, this was a concept.
Okay.
This was their dream. And now as you can see what happens when they flag the wetlands, they look at the natural resources and all that stuff, getting their permitting, they can't just go up there and build what they're showing here.
But there isn't a way, like, something's gonna get built there, because it's in the master plan, right? Like, there's not a way, like, if we say no, it just
Well-
reverts back to an orchard. Like, that's, something like that is gonna get built there, whether we, you know.
It's
people like
it's considered buildable land.
Yeah.
So whether it's the PUD master plan or other, somebody has the right to come forward with a site plan for development.
Yeah, I just wanted to put that out
Yeah.
to the public that, like, if we say no, it's not like this just all goes away.
Correct.
I just also want to say that the expectation of this PUD was also to have businesses, commercial development in this, and we're not seeing that.
Absolutely.
So, when you say people complain, I mean, we were looking for a whole package, not just residential development.
Yeah, and so,
So,
if I may, and so my comment was, people were saying about this particular project.
okay, I wasn't talking
yeah.
about that. I didn't see
I
any of
agree with you,
that, so.
yeah, I agree with you 100%, but right now, we're just talking about this particular project, and the complaints were, how can they allow that? How can they allow so many houses? How is it possible? Whatever, and all I'm saying was, it was approved in 2013, 2014, and it was always gonna be houses. It will be houses eventually. I think this is a great potential plan, if they could work out the details, more so than that original box cutter, what I always call is a cartoon drawing that goes before planning boards all the time, all throughout the state of New Hampshire, before you start getting into the weeds. To John's point, what about the drainage? What about the setbacks? What about the whatever that happens to be there? And then all of a sudden, you know, 1,000 turns into 200 because of all the regulations. And so I think this is a great alternative. I think it's a good opportunity for the community to have some housing. I almost said affordable housing, but I'm not gonna. Some housing that's a little bit cheaper than some others. And I hope it can be worked out, because I think this is a way better look than original.
Housing alternative.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, unless anybody's got anything real quick, I'd like to go to the public. All right, this is a public hearing. I will open up public comment. Come on up, name and address, sir.
Kent Batcher, 24 Raintree. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Town Manager, Board. Can we pull up the original concept art on the slides? Perfect. So I'm going to make some comments. Then I'm going to say the reason why the reason is no, legally, and then I'll have some questions. So first of all, the answer is no. The obvious answer is no. That is not what the residents of this town want. I have not spoken to a single resident that likes the residential options that were put in the previous project. I have not met one person that said anything positive about it. So my question is, well, this is not a question to be answered. Philosophically, why are we moving forward with a a similar agency that is, putting forward, these are not single-family homes. Okay, that is closer to a shed that you buy at Reed's Ferry than it is to a single-family home. So let's call it what it is. It's a detached apartment, right? This does not fit the aesthetic of our town, and I implore you, don't punt this over to the town council. You have the authority and you have the right to make the adjustments and to make the yay or nay. And anybody who says, okay, this is what we want, we have some serious questions and, looking into do, right? So first of all, these are not single-family homes. These are rentals. We do not want more rentals. We do not want green eggs and ham. We didn't want the ones before. We do not want these now. To your previous comments earlier, this is not going to help the people who want to stay in town. This is not home ownership. This is just an apartment that's partially detached. You have the opportunity to control the zoning. What was probably zoned agricultural forever, if it is a buildable lot, you have the ability to control the density. You have the ability to control the aesthetics and everything that go into it. So that's first and foremost. From the point of view of, what is it? It's RSA 674. You have to consider the traffic impacts, which we've seen, environmental, emergency response, things like that, and school. So this is the stuff we want to see in these meetings, okay? We don't want to see the artist concept because this is the best that these houses are ever going to look, and they do not look great. We do not want these. But I want to point out something that was actually said by the development team here, is that they're not familiar with a project like this, so they can't talk to the school impact. So first of all, there's no way that you can approve this because you do not have an assessment of the school impact. Period, full stop, right? And I'll get back to that in a second. The fact that they said that we're not familiar with projects like this in the area suggests that there aren't projects like this in the area, or that at least definitely not in the town of Londonderry, so we should not be approving these sorts of things, all right? And there's going to the school aspect of it, okay? All of the models that we've been previously using for the school board anticipate that enrollment is going down. So, which is it? Is enrollment going down in the plans that we're using to accommodate things like full-day kindergarten and things like that, right? They all accommodate the fact that space is going to be repurposed because enrollment is going down. You haven't done an assessment. You can't approve this because, furthermore, the other aspect of this is that when a developer comes in, it is reasonable and customary for them to pay what is necessary to get the job done. I am not paying for this. The other people in the room, we're not going to pay for these things with our assessments, okay? It doesn't make any sense. The special assessments that get made when people want to do these projects, that falls 100% on the company that's doing that. And we should not be making rebates in TIFs, which will be a question I have at the end, if this is covered under the TIF. That was completely inappropriate. That should not have been done. That is for blighted areas. That is not the town of Londonderry, New Hampshire. So, whether it be the intersection, fine, don't approve it. Just don't approve it, okay? You don't have to play this we're going to do shares thing, okay? The answer is, do you want to do this project or not? You have to do it appropriately. You can build one house in this, or you could build 250. This is probably more appropriate for 25 houses, not 250. This is exactly the reason that towns enact minimum acreage in order to build a house, because we don't want things like this. It's not that we don't need single-family homes. We desperately need single-family homes. But what we don't need is sheds densed in on a lot and with no public visible plan. I want to see in writing on a public website what the special assessments are going to be to not just improve the schools to accommodate the necessary capacity, but to use the schools that we currently already have. I want to see what special assessments are going to happen for sewer, for water. Why don't we have fiber throughout the whole town? Basic things, right? So, furthermore, as I kind of said before, I'm going to have some questions that revolve around the history of this whole project. There's this general perception amongst the public that obviously one of the previous town managers went into media consultancy, right? This did not go away, right? And so one of the main questions I'm going to have, I'll just list them. You can choose how or appropriately you want to answer them. Is some of those? I mean, that's a clear ethics violation. Why are we continuing to do business with this company at all? Right? Yes, they have the right to buy it. Yes, they have the right to make applications, and you have the ability to approve or deny them as you so see fit, as reasonable. You can put one house on there, or you can put 250, or you can put 1,000 on there. Okay? We need single-family homes. So my first question is this covered under the TIF? Because we were talking about paying for shares, and if I understand it correctly, based upon the public information, the way that it happens is after a certain period of time, we basically have to pay that back. So I want to make it clear. We are not paying for sewer lines. We are not paying for roads. And we are not paying for intersections. We are not paying to improve the schools to accommodate these people. If they want to do this project, they need to put that money aside, which needs to be backed by surveys that need to be scrutinized by all of us as a community and bought in on. We just want something that works. For this town, with the amount of industry we have, every major box store, we have airports, we have factories. Not only shouldn't our taxes be going up, but we should have schools that can accommodate the children we have. And we do not have that. So my first question is, what is already set in stone? To your previous point, if we did absolutely nothing today, what happens? Did the town already say, yes, we're going to allow them to build something, but we don't know what it's going to be? Is it one house or is it 1,000? That's my first question. My second question is on the TIF. Does this apply to the TIF? And I'm generally just asking you to slow down and require, these updated independent studies. And to be quite frank, act as if you were, some of you, you're obviously town residents, right? Act in favor of your residents, right? Of course. You have to be, right?
Yeah.
But my point is my third question is, can you tell me how this is in the best interest of the people in the town? To cram 250 houses into that small space in that artist's rendition, it's only ever going to look as good as that. So, one, what have we already agreed to? Two, is this covered under the TIF? How is this in favor of the residents in town? How does it benefit anybody? And most importantly, the answer is no. You don't even know how many school children are going to be going, and you don't even know if you can educate them. So I know that was a lot. I thank you for listening to me, and thank you.
Thank you. Kelly, couple questions. Can you, where do I want to start here? Can you elaborate a bit on the agreement with Woodmont and the fiscal impact of any development inside of the PUD?
Yes, so per the development agreement, Woodmont is required to provide an annual update with respect to their fiscal impact, the PUD as a whole, their impact to the town. Within that, it happens every spring. Within that, it's considered, I should back up. The data that they receive from that comes from the town. We provide the tax information, which includes motor vehicle registrations. They also coordinate with the school to get an understanding of the school-aged children impact. And that is all put into a fiscal impact report and presented to this board every spring. So that is a requirement that they have to do, and they have to continue to prove that they are tax positive. When they do not show, if they do not show they are tax positive, they are then, depending on that outcome, required to do certain improvements in the PUD as a whole. Depends on what the impact is, that dictates what the improvements may or may not be, but there is a provision in the development agreement that outlines that process.
Thank you. So, just to understand, there's an existing agreement from the original PUD that was put into place in 2013, 2014, that if this project has a negative tax impact on the town of Londonderry, per the development agreement with Woodmont, Woodmont Commons would need to mitigate the difference between whatever that tax positive to tax negative is.
Correct. Pillsbury Realty Group is
They
the
need to
owner of the
cover
property, yes.
Correct. Is there a TIF district or anything like that involved with this?
This is not in a TIF district.
Thank you. Can you tell me where the TIF districts are?
We have one TIF district right now, and it's along Pettingill Road, which is in the northern part of town.
So the existing TIF district in the town of Londonderry, the one we have, is on Pettingill Road up near the airport, which is for, if you don't know the road, FedEx, UPS, Pratt Whitney,
New Balance.
New Balance. That is where the TIF district is. Woodmont Commons is not inside of any TIF district.
Correct.
This doesn't get built. How many homes are, housing is allowed on this part of land, which is, hold on, give me a second. WC 4, WC 11, and WC 7, a little bit of WC 10.
Yep. So
This doesn't go through, it goes away. What is allowed on this parcel of land for housing?
So, right, so you just highlighted, this area that we're talking about is part of actually 5 different sub-areas, which are part of the Woodmont Commons planned unit development. in totality, those areas, those 5 areas, add up to 328 potential units.
So these 5 areas, if this goes away, we get rid of the compliance alternate. It goes back to what was in the PUD, approved in 2013, 2014, whatever it was. It's 328 units are allowed on this same parcel of land.
Correct.
What's your proposed number of units? Granted, they're not houses. What is your single-family homes? What is your proposed amount of units?
250 single-family units on 36 Pillsbury Road.
Thank you. I think I might have got everything.
No, the school-age children
School-age
question?
children, yes.
You want me to?
Yeah.
So generally, so New Hampshire Housing, which is an agency with this, that the planning industry uses as reference point to calculate school-age children as a base. So the average for single-family homes is 0.45 children per home. So if you do the math, 0.45 times 250 is 112 and a half. We don't have half children, so I would say about 113 school-age children potentially, based on that equation.
Thank you. That was the state average, correct?
That is the number that New Hampshire Housing currently advises as the average to use for single-family homes.
And I believe the town of, did we do something about this? The town of Londonderry's 0.16, 0.17?
So for
Where'd that
multifamily
statistic- Why is
housing,
that sticking out?
because for multifamily housing, New Hampshire Housing had a prior study in which they talked about using that number, the 0.17 per unit, but that was specific to multifamily housing.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from the public?
I agree with him. Again, Peter Gallo, 30 Kit Lane, right on the edge of this. Now, this is 250 homes on how many acres?
95 acres, 94 and a half, so.
How big are the lots? Got a quarter of an acre each?
It's going to be one contiguous plot of
What's
land.
that?
It's going to be one contiguous plot of land. So
I
they're
would
not-
ask you, sir, ask me the questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
There's other factors involved, but I am so turned off by this idea. I'm not crazy about the project on the other side of the street. It's not what Londonderry used to look like. I'm moving. I'm not staying. And I'm wondering if you have any projected times of starting and completion, but it looks like, not to make a pun, you got to get more of your ducks in a row with building traffic management, stoplights, and approving different things, and when the completion is. So I decided to leave, and move, because all these lots behind already, now that this, a lot of this stuff was built over Michael's Way, I can hear the highway. You know, it's not that quiet little street that it used to be, so it's already changed. I could already start to feel the traffic just from the Michael's Way construction, and now we're going to add that there. It's not what I remembered. I've been here for 30 years. There used to be apple orchards out there, wildlife, and, you know, it's a quaint little thing. It's not the Londonderry, you know, and these small houses crammed into these little lots. It looks like New Jersey, where I'm from, which is where I'm probably going to move back to. But I'm really turned off by the whole thing. It's you know, it's the style of the homes and everything else. It's not what I'm used to, and it's not, you know, why I moved to Londonderry in the first place. So, do we have a projected start date and a projected completion, or are we still in the planning stages on this?
I would say there is no projected start date or completion right now.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Chair, I have a question.
Ma'am, in the red, she was trying to come up earlier. Go ahead.
If you want to go, no, go ahead. Hi, Robin Stewart, Mammoth Road. Let's talk cemetery if I have to talk to you. Well, how far is the nearest house to the cemetery? What's the distance?
Right now? Are you
When
talking
they build it?
existing or?
The existing houses are gonna, that development abuts the cemetery, correct?
Yes.
So what's the distance from the nearest house to the cemetery?
John, can you give me a rough idea?
Hold
on
on.
To the cemetery itself, probably about 120 feet, the property
That's
line.
structure or From
So
the property line,
So a structure to the property line of the cemetery.
structure to the property line of the cemetery, 120 feet.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And I heard you say, but I have to talk to him, something about water drainage coming into the cemetery?
Actually, it was vice versa.
Okay.
It's the water coming out of the cemetery. If you remember the cemetery, all the water flows to a couple of detention basins on the west side. And then those discharge further to the west onto their property.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a berm around it?
There's an existing berm in the cemetery of the, John, and correct me if I'm wrong here. There's existing
you're wrong.
berms on the drainage that
You're
is
wrong.
there.
Yeah.
You're wrong. So that water that comes out of the ponds, Robin, they come out of the pond. They come out of the ponds here. This is the ponds right here. Comes out of the ponds, out of a outlet control structure. What they're proposing is these berms here and here. So my concern was, again, when the water comes out of that, they need to create a swale so that it will redirect the water, into where it goes today.
That sounds good, thank you. I kind of was hoping that there's going to be some kind of wall or fence around the cemetery because nobody wants to go and visit their loved one and have people in their backyards coming out and running all over in the cemetery. That's just not okay. That's the first thing. The second thing is, and this isn't directly for this, but it's kind of an unintended consequence, and I understood the tax. I called Kelly today, and she was nice enough to kind of explain as much as I could understand the whole, they have to, Woodmont has to say how much their tax, how much they spend, or how much, I don't know, I'm
Their
going to
fiscal
get all
impact,
confused.
yeah.
Right,
Yep.
whatever. So, if the problem with if they had I called the fire department and I called the police department. The fire department had 4,500 plus calls this year. Out of that, 50% of them were simultaneous calls. So if they're down, and this isn't just here or the Woodmont or any place else, the ambulance, and then there's another at my house emergency, I have to wait till Derry comes or Wyndham comes or Litchfield. So I'm waiting, I'm paying the penalty for these other communities that are coming in and taking up all these spaces. And we're not replacing them with the fire and the police. I mean, you've got more traffic, more motor vehicle accidents, more crime. The police are already stretched out. The fire department clearly is. We have to be able to do something about those things. We can't just keep letting them go because every development that comes, it's one more development that's taking up all those services. And the very last thing is, I just can't ask you, what if this is supposed to be affordable housing, whatever that means, what kind of range is it? Because when affordable is different, and if it's going to allow kids to come in and pay a decent amount of rent, that's one thing. If we're going to have something that looks like Somerville and people are still going to be out, it's not helping our children stay in town because they're not buying anything. It's just renting another apartment, but they look like Somerville. That's what it looks like, those houses down there. So if we're going to do that, they should be really affordable. But how much are they going to be affordable?
I don't have a crystal ball and I can't predict the market, but it's going to be driven based off of whatever the market rate is.
Is there a percentage? I mean, when you say affordable, is it like 30% of someone's salary or 20% of someone's salary, or?
These don't technically fall under affordable housing, correct?
That's correct. These are not affordable or workforce housing. These are
correct.
So you're going to charge full rent and look like Somerville? That doesn't make sense to me. It's just not how Londonderry is supposed to look. I guess that's it. And I did know there was going to be housing there. I just don't think that it necessarily has to be that much housing.
Well, it can be 350 or it can be 250.
What?
The original plan allows for 350.
Oh, I'm just saying that this looks terrible.
Sorry, my apologies.
No, sorry.
I apologize.
No, that's okay. I'm just saying that this drawing doesn't look like Londonderry. So you're right, there could be a lot more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I'm Diane Sizemore. I live at 11 Hovey. I'll be short and sweet because I don't like public speaking. So we moved here in June, and our property is on Woodmont Orchards, and we fell in love with the property. Basically, our backyard is WC11. So to think of having that in my side or backyard is just saddening. It's like, that's not why we moved here, to have that in our backyard. Number one. Two, where on Hovey is the access road and the dirt access road, and will there be access to this place from Hovey?
So the access from Hovey is for emergency access only, and it's right after the 90-degree, that's behind me. It's right after the 90-degree turn.
And I'm new to town, so again, I don't really know the streets and whatnot, so I'm just wondering how close to Hovey, where we are, 11 Hovey, is this access road? There's a lot of property in front of our house, that part of it is ours.
Diane, where is, on 11 Hovey, you said?
11 Hovey.
So as you're going up Hovey?
Yes.
You're on the left or the right?
Correct.
Just before you get to, so when you get to the 90, a couple of 100 feet on the left-hand side is where that emergency access would be.
Okay.
Makes sense?
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Just curious, was there any disclosure when you bought your house about this?
Yes, there was. And we were told that this had been going on for 10-plus years, and
Not to worry.
again, we saw the property, we fell in love with it, and didn't even think of all this actually happening. And what this gentleman said, wherever he is, was spot on. You right there. Those houses, no offense to the architect, but they look like they're low quality. I don't think that's what Londonderry is. I just, really, please think about this. Pray about it. Pray about it. Is that really what Londonderry wants? That's it.
Anything else from the public?
Hi, I'm Jake Pelletier. I live at 28 Kit Lane. I've talked with a couple of these gentlemen a few times. They've been at my property. We've walked their property or proposed property. A couple of things I want to say up front. The water situation now in our neighborhood doesn't work. So we really haven't talked much about what the plan is for water over there. We've had a few back and forths with these folks. I'll leave that one alone for you guys that know more about it. Tony, to kind of just go with what you were saying, I did take a few notes. I would much rather have the 350 homes. Single-family residences bring property value. PUDs do not. I've spent 20 years in the mortgage and real estate industry, and I can tell you this, PUDs do no benefit to a neighborhood.
There you go.
When I bought my house in 2010, I had heard what was going on, and I looked at it and I said, okay, we're going to build single-family residences. We're going to have whatever the acreage requirement was in the town. And that property value, or that proposed development, everybody was happy with it in town. Like, okay, we can deal with housing, single-family houses. It was supposed to be a well-lit, walkable, cobblestone, whatever, neighborhood. And now we've flipped it to a 250-unit sheds. And they have a price point in mind, to go to your comment. That price point is way out of range. I couldn't even afford some of these houses.
What is the price point that you heard?
I've heard it's between $2,800 and $4,100 a month. I don't know any kid out of college that can afford that. Most families in this town can't afford that. So we can't, I don't know what your situations are up here, if you're abutters to this proposed project, but I can tell you, much like all the folks in this room, none of us want it.
Did you say you're in the mortgage industry?
I was for 20 years.
The average new home in Londonderry is going for almost $1 million right now. What's $1 million mortgage look like?
regardless.
I'm just asking the question. What's $1 million mortgage? look like
I'm an engineer now. I'm an engineer. I don't deal with that anymore.
$9,000 a month.
Wow.
Correct.
Double mine, right?
It's a significant amount of money.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'm just asking a question, so.
Absolutely. You kind of derailed my train of thought.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
But yes, I understand housing is extremely expensive now. It's cyclical. Okay, this town is a great town. I love this town because it's a small town. And you want to talk about impact, you're talking about building another 250 when right down the road across, what do you call it, 102, you got another what? However many homes are going up over there? 96. And then what about where Luciano's used to be? How many homes are going up over there? Then we just had McGregor cut 5-7 years ago, whatever that was. So, and I get it. We need the revenue. The town needs the revenue, we need the housing, we need the people. Without that, we die. But if we do too much too fast, and we don't do it the right way, and we bring in condo developments, all of our property values will suffer. Our children will suffer because we do not have the infrastructure to support it. You can talk about 0.17 or 0.25, whatever it may be, but realistically, you have no idea what kind of people or blend of people you're going to get from 2,100 to 4,800 or whatever the number is. Who knows? But you are going to bring people from other towns and other states. Who knows how many kids they have? I don't have kids in the schools anymore, but I know I have a lot of friends that do, and I think that you'd be doing them a huge disservice, as well as the other members of the town. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anybody else from the public? How are you?
Good, how are you? Good. My name is Catherine Jennis. I'm at 15 Moulton Drive. Jake, I believe we went to high school around the same time together too, so grew up in Londonderry. Mr. D, I believe you were a gym teacher at South School, so I remember you as well. I don't believe I was ever your student, but again, just familiar faces. Glad to see we're still in Londonderry living here, seeing all the opportunities it can bring.
What stories do you have of Jake?
I don't know if we ever overlapped, but.
Take it easy.
No, I just want to tack on to the comments about things that were said on social media. Again, like you had mentioned, no one's really paying attention in 2013. The town still had its identity, right? Small town, hung out in the apple orchards, that sort of thing.
Drinking?
No, just playing manhunt. So, no one was really caring about that. I was a graduate 2013. So fast forward all these years later, you have the condo developments coming in. Again, 15 Mullen, that's over by St. Mark's. I drive by it every day to get to exit 4 to go to my job on the highway, up in Manchester. So developments on South Road coming in, all those natural lands are being cleared out, putting in all these housing, at least that's housing. However, you go up on Gilcrest, all these developments came in. Now it's a, over 50 retirement community advertised for, all their outdoor recreation access. I don't know where that is because that's not there in that community. You go up a little bit more, the 96 condos, again, the ton of condos on the other side of the street, already seeing huge traffic volumes just from that. So again, no one was really thinking all these other micro developments were coming in. This cluster housing was going to come in. So, back in 2013, we're like, yeah, that sounds cool. Add in these businesses, more homes. That sounds great. Not this. Let's think about the elections in 2024. Kelly Ayotte won quite overwhelmingly here. What was her motto? Don't mass up New Hampshire. This is massing up New Hampshire solely. I think that this needs to be completely reevaluated. You had mentioned people wanting to buy homes, and I think that's the key. Buy homes. No one wants to rent. No one in their late 20s wants to rent. They want to get married, have a family, have kids in the school system, right? That's why I chose Londonderry again. Great school system. We know the teachers there. They're all excellent. The school system's fantastic. This doesn't help anybody try and come back into Londonderry again. If anything, it drives them away. You've already heard a few residents voice that. If anything, this is just so concerning. This doesn't do anybody any services whatsoever, even people renting too. Again, if you're thinking of, oh, what about teachers or anything? I don't know if they're going to be wanting to pay $2,800 to $4,000 a month for that. So yeah, I think cluster housing needs to be totally reassessed. It's Mass. If you want to go get this somewhere else, go to New York City. I don't know. Go to Massachusetts. Plenty of developments like that there. Just not New Hampshire. This is totally taking away from everything it represents, especially in Londonderry. I also chuckled as well when we said we're saving 1,000 apple trees. I also want to know, how many are we taking out? It's nice to highlight the positive and look at it glass half full, but honestly, this is just screams glass half empty all the way around. So yeah, no, I thank you for your time, and hopefully we're able to reassess this project. And I know you mentioned 350 homes, or units, I'm going to call them, because those aren't homes. Yeah, just hopefully we can come to a better, more sustainable look for Londonderry that really considers everything else along the way, not just what was done in 2013, but everything in accumulation to where we are now. Because things are fluid, things always change, and this is where we're at. This is Massing Up New Hampshire. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from the public?
Good evening. Bob Lees, 21 Kit Lane. Been there for about 50 years almost. Met with these guys a few times. Had a great time together, hours out in the street, walking the complex, what they want to build. And one thing we pointed out to them after 2 hours on that street on Kit Lane, we've seen one bus and one car over 2 hours. That's kind of the environment that we grew up with in that area, and the kids and what have you. I don't know if the project's going to go through or not. I have some problems. I never liked the project from the beginning. I didn't even like the old 14 years ago, if you would. I like the orchard, but I have some problems with the parking. For 250 homes, you're only allowing 2 cars to park there, but you got a 3-bedroom home. What happens when you got a couple of kids, and now you got 4 cars? Where are they going to park? I know I had a couple of kids, and I have 4 cars. My neighbor's got a bunch, and he's got 5 cars in his driveway. I says, but he made his room bigger. But you're not going to have the room to make your space bigger to park more cars. We talked about a buffer between the existing neighborhood of Kit Lane and the new one. We talked about a buffer, and these guys have been talking about buffer, but I haven't really seen any plan as far as what's it going to be. What kind of growth is going to try and design to separate the neighborhoods, if you would? We've got a neighborhood that's been there for over 50 years. They've been willing to do it, but I haven't seen anything, seen any trees. We talked about a level 4 foot high with natural material, but I really haven't seen a detailed plan of what's going to go in there. There's a lot of apple trees in there now, and all those apple trees in that orchard are no longer apple trees. They're dead. And half that orchard has already been leveled. If you ever walked it, you come up Pillsbury, you go 6 rows back, there's no more trees. You can see it from Hovey a little bit better. Second thing is, on a gravel road, on a gravel path, or whatever you want to call it, at the north end for the water line. I talked to John. He doesn't understand why Pennachuck needs that access, but my question is, how are they going to access it? There's a stone wall there that connects to Spring Road, a dirt road. The water tank is on the other side of that wall. They got valves over here on the other side of the wall where the development's going to be, but how is Pennachuck going to access that? They're not going to. The water line runs down that whole length of the backside by Kit Lane, basically parallel, if you would, to Kit Lane. Are they going to plow that all year long? What's the plan? I don't really like to think about a stone wall coming down that's been there for ever and ever. Okay. That's it, but I'm really not happy with the project. I worked for the schools for 30 years. Yeah, the enrollment's down, but there's still no space. Figure that one out. I could tell you why, but I won't. Some people get upset. That's it. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from the public? Let him go first.
How you doing? Chris Oliverio, 1 Trolley Car Lane. I'm pretty much at the bottom of all this. You talked about the PUD, right, that was put in place in 2013, right? Is that set in stone forever and ever? Like, does it get adjusted? You mentioned, it was mentioned 350 houses could get built here. How is that possible on 96 acres, with roads and everything? It's not, right? So we're putting numbers out there that aren't factual, that we could, instead of doing this, we could do 96 houses. That'd be an acre each. You'd only be able to get 96, right? So how do we get 350? How do we get, 250? These houses are ridiculously close. If I own, 5 acres, I couldn't put 20 houses on it that close. You wouldn't allow me to. It'd be against regulation. So how do we reverse this, retool it, relook at it, and get it so that it's more reasonable? What's the square footage of these houses? Are we talking 1,200 square feet that are 10 feet apart and with trees between them and stuff? Or what are we looking at? Do you know?
What's your average square footage?
So there's 3 different types, right? There's a 1-bedroom and a 3-bedroom. The 1-bedroom, 750 to 800, and then the 3-bedroom, it goes up to around 2,400. So.
You mentioned houses are selling for $1 million. Is that new mansions or? Mine isn't going for that. But.
Current houses in Londonderry, new construction houses in Londonderry are averaging around $1 million.
But they have 4 bedrooms in them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And fixtures that are top of the line, so.
Correct. That's what's getting built.
I think the PUD needs to be looked at. It needs to be retooled. I don't think just because someone agreed on something 2013 should have, carried through and not get adjusted to what the town wants today. Who does that? The town council? I don't know how that, gets looked at. But I don't know how it was agreed. Like we said, people weren't paying attention. How thick is it? Who's going to go read it? What educational, sessions have been put in place to educate the public on what was agreed on at the time? I doubt there was any. I've been here 30 years, and I remember
Saying
when...
for the PUD
Yeah.
itself?
Yeah, how do we get educated on what was being voted on and approved and agreed on?
There was a massive effort. This was way before my time. I was still in high school. There was a massive effort put underway of the Woodmont Commons and the PUD. There was hours and hours and session after session after session of open public comment with the developer of what they were trying to do.
I went to information center at the Woodmont, and they talked about if we need to put schools and fire stations and police stations in, we'll do that. And I don't see that being considered in any of this as needed. We don't know how many kids are going to be there, what the impact is on the town. So, this was all dreams. That duck pond was going to be sailboats and amphitheaters and, whatnot, right? That was always proposed, a bridge over Trolley Car Lane to get to the other piece of land they own where exit 4A is getting put in. All that stuff is not being, I know it's a different parcel and different piece, but it's all having impacts on the town, with traffic and everything. So I'd just like to have that be considered.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anything else from the public? Yes, sir.
Anthony Ferraro, 12 Catesby Lane. So, I guess a bit different here. I actually moved here from across the country to live in the PUD. So I really liked the way it was, and I really don't like this. So this, I kind of agree, the aesthetics part doesn't really fit. I really liked the mixed-use walkability that was in the original plan. This is kind of cut off from the rest of it.
Folks. Christine, please.
Yeah, that's the one part I don't like about it is it's secluded. It's kind of cut out from the rest of Woodmont. It's not a stitched community anymore. The previous plan that was up there, it showed mixed-use little nodes, and it showed walkways, sidewalks, not recreation trails. The recreation trails are a little bit different. You can't use them all year round. You really can only use them for walking, only during the daytime, not in the winter. So only a couple hours a year is when it's applicable to use. that aside, that's throwing that out there. School buses are something to consider here. We have a problem or a challenge where we live now. I'm assuming these are all private roads. School buses don't go on private roads. All those kids that are there, however many there are, they have to get to Pillsbury for the bus stop, the big bus stop that will be there. There will be a lot of kids playing around at that intersection. I disagree that that single intersection will cover all of those units within there. The apartment complex across the street, across Pillsbury from there, has about the same number of units with 3 exits that come out of it and then 2 access points to Pillsbury itself. This has significantly less. So I really think I should consider the school bus impact of it. And then the fact that the sidewalks are removed in this development means they're going to be walking on that 8% grade on a snowy day to get down to Pillsbury, or the parents are going to be driving them to the bottom of the hill. The original plans, the previous ones that were up there, they hinted at or they showed connection to exit 4A. And again, this kind of cuts everything off from the community. Is that abandoned? There is no more connecting Michael's Way through a boulevard up to 4A, and that's done?
I believe exit 4A is written in stone.
So when they had initially looked at the environmental impact statement for exit 4A, the state had come to the town of Londonderry and said, we'll do the environmental impact going to the east and to the west. And the town, at that time, the town's people said, don't show it going to the west, because we don't want to touch the apple orchards. State said, we got it.
Well, that's
Continued
ironic.
on. Yep, that's what happened.
Okay. Trail maintenance. So we're in a weird paradigm over in our little section of Woodmont, where we have that trail that we pay for with our own HOA fees that is intended for the public to be able to access, probably very similar to the words that would be used to describe these trails. We can stop maintaining that at any time, and nobody can do anything about it. I think there should be better verbiage in place to deal with that, because these different sections that have different parts of the trails can all maintain them differently and don't have any requirement to maintain them at all. So that's a part for this project. That's a part for the other one across the street that we talked about previously today, the corner of Pillsbury and Gilchrist. An important note. So, and then I think that's all I got. Yeah. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from the public? Hi, Christine.
Hi. Sorry.
Sorry.
Christine Perez, 5 Wesley Drive. I'm worried about fire. I'm scared to death about fire. So you're going to put roughly, I've taken care of people coming into the emergency room who are burned, and kids. You have this thing with one access, 24-foot wide streets. The group down here, may I? Just so I
Yep,
can
you're
point
fine.
to it.
Just talk loud, please.
Oh, I can do that.
Not town council loud, just planning board loud.
You see these people living here? Here? Okay? You put fire trucks. Put a fire truck here. Put a fire truck there. They can't get out of here. You have a major fire here with one access road. And those fire trucks block the road. You put 2 fire trucks on 24 feet, they block it. Plus you have the ambulance, plus you have the police. I'm worried about fire here. This is a problem. One access in and out of this place is like having one elevator, which we passed at the State House, in apartment buildings. This is an accident waiting to happen, and you have rentals here. People don't have skin in the game with rentals. They're not gonna count on everybody to do everything they're supposed to do to protect the people around them. They have no skin in the game. So maybe you can say that I'm not allowed to put a grill in my no backyard, or that, or I'm not allowed to have a fire, and they do it. this is an accident waiting to happen, because people are not going to be able to get out of there. So that's my point. Oh, are they going to have sprinkler systems in each of the units?
If you guys could answer that real quick.
You want me to speak to that?
Yeah, I don't think so, right?
No, so we went through this with the fire department, and the houses are separated enough that they don't require sprinklers, but is that there will be fire hydrants based on with the radius specified by.
But apartment buildings have to have sprinkler systems. So,
Anybody else from the public? All right. Seeing none, I will, Deborah, you getting up to talk, or you just getting up? Okay. You're all right. Seeing none, I will close public comment. Trying to figure out where I want to go with this before we make some motion. Go ahead.
So, the one thing I can say that a lot of the comments tonight, as far as the aesthetics of them go, I do agree with a lot of them. It was my first impression looking at the designs as well. It doesn't quite fit with the aesthetics of the town, the current aesthetics of the town. Just one person's opinion, but I don't mind the cottage look. I don't mind the sizes of them. I don't mind, but there is a disengagement, I would say, with every other development in town in terms of the way they look. So I will express my opinion that way.
Anything else before I start? Nothing? All right. Kelly, can you pull up the side-by-side? So, there's so much here to unpack, right? Woodmont, this massive thing that has come to be, that's been approved for a long time. We have discussed, okay, there could be up to 300 whatever houses in this development. The proposed development is about 100 homes less than what could be there. I want to talk about things that we have heard nonstop since I have been on the board. And I want to look at these pictures while I talk about them. First and foremost, it's been in every conversation of previous master plans, this master plan, a lot of people who have come to this board. We want to save open space. We want more open space. How do we get more open space? I want to look, and I agree to Tony's point. Is this indicative of what it could be? It's a cartoon drawing, but I want to look at the one on you guys' right. That is the original approved PUD plan for this section of Woodmont. You can see where the green space is. It's between those two main roads there, which happens to also be a large wetland of the project. The rest of it is housing lots. There's little spots of green here and there. There's lots all the way down to Pillsbury Road. That's what was originally approved, proposed, and approved back in 2013 or 2014. And then I want to look at what's to the left of it. A development that is dense. It is not perfect. I wouldn't live in it. I don't live in it. But what I do see is a huge increase in open space. Something that has come up time and time again at this board. We want more open space. This is a plan that gives us the ability to do that. I hate the word affordability, but I want to talk a little bit about affordability. I think affordability is a very broad term. I think it's terribly defined. What I can confidently say without giving a value or a number, back to a question that I asked earlier. look at the plan on the right. Those are single-family bedroom style houses. Those are gonna be 4 to 5 bedroom homes in the town of Londonderry. A 4 to 5 bedroom home being built in Londonderry starts between $900,000 and $950,000. Anybody that's purchasing a 4 to 5 bedroom new construction house in Londonderry today is spending $1 million on a home. That I can promise you is not affordable. What is proposed is, which I have a couple questions on, is 1, 2, and 3 bedroom homes, houses, detached apartments, I think you might have said. That is not a perfect solution. But what I would be willing to bet is that people have come here time and time again to this board and talked about how unaffordable Londonderry is. If somebody wants to live in Londonderry, it's gonna be less to live in one of those homes than it is gonna be if we build 4 to 5 bedroom homes on what was originally planned. That I can guarantee. The simple math of today, and I hate talking about the math because the market dictates the whole thing, but the simple math today was $1 million home is a $7,000 to $9,000 a month mortgage. I'd be willing to bet a fair amount of people in this room can't afford a $7,000 to $9,000 a month mortgage. No, I can't. But I could stomach a $4,000 rent if I was trying to get into Londonderry. And again, I hate talking about the numbers because 3 years from now, that rent could be $6,000 or that rent could be $2,000. At the same time, that mortgage could be $10,000 or it could be $3,000. With the exception of COVID, I don't think I've seen mortgages go down. And the only reason they became cheaper was because interest rates were more affordable. So, two things that many people who have been in this room tonight have come up and discussed. Affordability, which again, I think is just a disgusting word in and of itself. Okay, we can check off as a planning board. This is gonna be more affordable than what the original plan was. Open space. We've heard it time and time again. This is certainly going to provide more open space. I don't love it. I think it's a much better alternative than what could be there. I personally am happier with that when I think of people trying to at least live in Londonderry. Hey, we're giving somebody something else besides a 25-unit apartment building that every time one of those comes to town, we get told how much we don't like apartment buildings. Apartment buildings are more affordable than mortgages, right? But we hate apartment buildings. We also want affordability. You need one or the other. This is a decent alternative to both. Yeah, it's dense. That density is giving us space, open space. That density is, they're smaller homes, so they're gonna be more affordable. And they're not going to be a 3-4 story apartment building that everybody that has come to this board has yelled about and complained about. That realistically, as long as it meets the requirements of our ordinances, we can't say no to it because we arbitrarily hate condo buildings. I live next to the biggest set of condos in Londonderry. I can't stand it. There's nothing I can, or apartments, I should say. There's nothing I can do about it. The next biggest apartment development in town is approved. Right down the street from my house. It is what it is. Specific to the project, we've talked about sizes of homes, 1, 2, and 3 bedroom homes. What we haven't talked about is what does that look like? It's 250 homes. Are you building 10 one-bedroom homes? Are you building 21 bedroom homes? Are you building 150 one-bedroom homes? I think it's a valid question. While it may be a little bit outside of the scope, I think it's a valid question.
We can speak to that, and we can get you the specific numbers, Mr. Chair, after this, but the one bedrooms would actually only be 24 to 40 of the units, so it's actually a relatively low number. The 3 bedrooms are obviously going to be the more desired, so that's between the 40 and 50%, and then the 2s would make up the remaining percentage. So it is heavily 3 and 2 bedrooms, and then the 1 bedrooms are, not everyone wants their 2 or 3 bedroom house, so.
There was some discussion on the walking paths. John, I wholeheartedly agree with you on concrete aprons wherever we meet roadways. Ideally, I'd love to see the entire walking path be concrete. There was a gentleman here, he walked out, he lives in Catesby Lane. They have I don't even know what you want to call it, it's recycled asphalt walking path that a homeowners association is doing their best to maintain. That is nothing but a headache for them. So what does more gravel paths look like? Personally, it's like, hey, but then, what's a concrete walkway look like in the middle of field, right? We talked a bit on roadway width earlier. John, you and I had asked you a couple questions going back to Catesby Lane, which is is it 24 or 26 foot roadways over there?
I don't recall.
I think it varies.
I think it's, varies.
Whatever it is, it's narrow, and I had asked you if there was curbs. There are no curbs. I would encourage everybody to go drive down Catesby Lane and see how difficult it is to travel on because of the curbs that are on each side of the road. If there's a car parked on the side of the road, it's a one-way road. So I like the fact that there are not curbs here. I also think curbs provide a bit more of a, city's the wrong word, but hard look than not having any curbs. I think there's a lot here. I think it's a decent plan that has. You guys came here with this and you listened to people that came in and talked about open space, that talked about affordability and all that. You found a way to make more open space, and theoretically, these will be more affordable than the $1 million home.
Yeah, it's 22.
So I can appreciate it.
22.
A question for staff, please.
Yeah.
So for staff, I don't know what you want to do, but thank you for both for listening. Does a PUD have to follow the changes that the state has made in the lot sizes of properties? Because they said you can't have acre and a half zoning anymore. Then they said you can't have acre zoning anymore. Then they said, well, it's all about the HIS, right? So if you have septic and if you have septic and wells, then you're gonna need more land area just because of how that works. So in this case, someone had mentioned acre lots. Is that true of this development, that they have to be acre lots?
Anything within the PUD has to have municipal water and municipal sewer.
Okay,
So that eliminates your HIS question.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, but then again, do they have to be an acre lot?
No, they follow the PUD master plan regulatory document, which is separate from our zoning ordinance regulations.
Right, so quarter acre. Quarter. Or.
Correct, they have flexibility.
Yeah, or less. It could be less than a
Right.
quarter acre.
Did you notice, though,
Hold
on
on.
the exterior
Ann,
of
hold
that
on.
property?
Ann, let
Well,
him
he was
finish.
talking about the,
Just let him finish whatever he's saying, then go.
So I want to bring that up. The other thing is, somebody mentioned, can we adjust the PUD? Can we ask the town manager? I think I know the answer and
Very fair question.
how to do it, but can we ask the town manager to weigh in on, because the question was asked, I think it was a fair question.
I agree.
Thank you.
You just asked the question again, and I may not be able to answer it, but.
Yeah, so the question was asked, does the town have to follow a plan that was approved in 2013-14? And can it, if that's true, can it be modified or changed or whatever? Because in this, I believe the gentleman was trying to say in this amount of years, philosophies have changed or whatever, and so maybe we need to take a look at it. My opinion is it's a signed legal document that has all the parts in it that the town council signed at the time, but,
So the answer that only, both parties would have to agree to any particular changes would have to occur. Because we entered into that agreement, as the chair indicated, after much public discussion. I wasn't here at the time, but I can certainly read the documents that are there. Much public input, much public discussion. It looks like the whole process of thinking through that and analyzing that was all done. A court's going to look at that and say, wait a minute, you folks knowingly entered into this agreement, both parties, better for worse, for either party. And so I would say no, unless both parties agree to do that.
thank you so much. And so, a couple other things, if I may. So, you talked, Mr. Chair, about density, and some other people talked about density as well. Have you driven through Century Village or Rolling Meadows? It's pretty dense. Many of the condo developments that are attached are extremely dense. To me, those are cluster housing. We've had those since the 70s. I came to town in 1978. They were already there. Century Village was being built. And so, you know, the other thing that we have to remember too is that the owner of that orchard sold the orchard to a developer. That's kind of the end of the story. The town then said, wow, that's a lot of land, and then a developer came forward, who owned the land and said, hey, let's make this organized plan, which they called a PUD. The orchard owner sold the orchard to a developer. The developer wants to make money. We now, this board, have to follow the rules inside of the PUD, which supersedes most of our rules and regulations, because it's a separate, agreed-upon document between the town council, who are the legislative body of the town, and the owner of the land. And in New Hampshire, the owners of land have rights. The question is, what do we want, or what don't we want? I applaud the young lady who apparently I traumatized when I was a teacher back in the day, and I thank her for coming forward. But you know, I will tell you that the fact is, I have an upwardly mobile child that the last thing that's wanted is ownership in a home. Because the old days of a person graduating from college, going to work for a company, staying for 50 years, getting a gold watch and a pension at the end, they're over. If you read, and I read and I study a lot, you'll find that the average is like 3.1 years, 3.7 years. I don't hold me exactly to that, but it's somewhere around that. And then they move a new company, a new job, a new career, a new whatever. As old as I am, I subscribed to that process in the 60s. I've had probably 35 careers in my life. And so this idea that, and I read a lot about urban and rural development and studies and papers and whatever, and I'm telling you, the newer trend is that people are moving back into the cities. The young people are going into the cities so that they can drink and party and do whatever they're going to do and then walk to work the next day or take public transportation or whatever. And so you know, saying that people don't want rentals, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know. But here we are, having to make a decision between what the community is saying they want, and we heard no one wants this. I don't think that's true, and probably that was misspoken. Because when you use words like that, I think you don't mean to, because it's impossible, right? How many people in this town? 26,000? 27,000 people in town, and no one wants it? Not sure if that's true. What we know is almost no one votes. We know that to be a fact. So what we know is most of the people in the town are just telling the legislature of the town, just tell me how much I owe. So where do we go with this? We have to weigh as a board, and we're not going to do it tonight because we're doing an extension, a continuance, thank you. But at some point, we're going to have to make a decision. So we got to weigh the difference between, does the community really want something different or not? We have a pretty wide range of people that are sitting here right now. Old people, younger people, and people even younger than that, with a wide variety of experiences in this town. For me, it's been since 1978, right? I'm trying to figure out for this town, how do we deal with all this pass-through traffic that's coming from Hudson and Nashua, trying to get to exit 4? And I'll tell you what the new buzzword is in rural development is 2 service centers. And when they call it service center, they're saying exit 4 is a service center. What the new research is saying, what the new thing is, you need 2. In a town this big, maybe 3. So you put another one at exit 5, where all the services that somebody's going to need. Right now, everybody has to filter all the way down through the town to exit 4, right? To 102. Now they're saying, hey, make a second center like that so people don't have to drive on all the secondary roads. But how do we do that? This board and the town council doesn't decide who comes to Londonderry. They don't get to decide that. All they get to do is zone the land and hope somebody's going to come in and develop it. Build houses, build factories, whatever. We don't get to determine, is it going to be a restaurant or is it going to be Sally Jones Twirling Center? We don't get to choose that. All we get to do is vote on zoning the land to be appropriate for all different kinds of businesses and to have all different kinds of housing. So where do we go? We're right back where we started, and the answer is not easy. Thank you for entertaining me. Thank all of you.
Dan, I know you're trying to ask him a question.
Yeah. Well, as we all know, that the PUD was first discussed in a meeting on December 21st, 2009. That's when it was originally brought up. Not many people were at that meeting. Week of Christmas. And it was signed January 4th, 2010. That's when it was. The original PUD ordinance.
Oh, the ordinance.
The ordinance was.
Sorry.
Right, to start it all off. But, and we understand that the purchase and sale agreement was signed 2 years before that. Those are facts. And Woodmont purchased the property. Well, they put in the, I guess what you do, you go to finally purchase the property
purchase and sale
in
agreement.
January of 2010. And then they had the charrettes. The charrettes actually took into perspective what the people wanted. See the outside of that PUD over here? Over here. Notice the similarity in the sizes of the lots. That was on purpose, wasn't it? They matched the size of the lots on the opposite side of the border. That's what they did. They worked with the people in town to have some kind of give and take on what would affect the neighborhood and how to resolve that. That's what they were doing. This is all purposefully done. That's how close the people actually got to the development, this development as it stands now. And they were looking forward to the businesses that were on the first floor on the row of commercial businesses here with apartments above it. We were looking, I hate to say that, people thought I was against it, and I was against it at first. But when you got involved with the process, you got to think about what was happening here and how it was developing and how we could all work towards making it something we wanted. And I'm just talking about the PUD as it stands there. We knew it was coming, the PUD ordinance was already created, and we worked with Woodmont on the charrettes. But I think we've lost a little bit of sight of what was intended there. A full community, a full, having everything a community would need, from businesses, commercial, movie theaters, hotels, everything combined into it. You know, we had the shopping center already. Market Basket was right there. What they were looking for, the hair salons, the movie, well, I think I said movie theaters, whatever. You know, it was, they actually worked with the residents to give them somewhat of a, not consolation, but somewhat of a feeling that we could have our voices heard. And that's what we expected to be done. And, but seeing it, seeing the follow through, and I was just hoping that we'd see more businesses, retail, that whole town of Londonderry could, you know, patronize along with the residents that would be built in Woodmont. But I think the people are losing that feeling of they have some ownership in it, you know, because they, you know, as here, they've worked with Woodmont in kind of like deciding what was going to be going, and that we knew it had, we had to follow what the development team was heading for, but we can have our say on things. And I feel like we've kind of lost it here. We're just reacting to what they're bringing in to us. But that's my feelings.
Go ahead. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And, you know, I echo a lot of the sentiments shared by my colleagues this evening. I do want to kind of, I do want to kind of address something Ann said, though. And I think that when we go in, you know, as chair of the Plan Steering Committee, when we go into these kind of planning sessions, we also need to kind of understand the economic realities of it. Sure, I think we all want that, the PUD and that development to be very, business friendly, but if the economics aren't there, businesses aren't going to come. The economics come with people are in that development. So I just wanted to just kind of say that, put a pin in that one. The other kind of thing I want to really kind of iterate is that annually, Pillsbury Realty Group provides a financial summary required by the PUD to do so. This room is not filled at all, but I think that that's an opportunity for us to have further public engagement during those sessions. I do want to kind of bring us back to what's on the table here and with the applicant, because as a quasi-judicial board, we do have a responsibility to act, in accordance with what was presented to us this evening. So, Mr. Chair, to do so, I would probably ask that we kind of direct further questions to the applicant outside of the PUD and more so on how this project
The
fits
development
within this PUD.
That's fine. Kelly, I got a question for you, real quick. WC8, WC11, WC10. What are the allowable uses inside of those?
It's arranged, but it's residential, a little bit of institutional, commercial. You'd have to give me a minute to pull up each section to cite the square footages, but
Predominantly residential.
correct.
Can I ask a question about the commercial property?
No, not really, because we've closed public comment. What I will,
Going to be any more public comment?
what I will say is this is going to be continued. There will be public comment again.
The reason I'm leaving is I'm looking to buy a mixed-use property where I have 2 apartments and a retail store. If you sold some of those properties, you'd make it much more affordable because as a small business, you got a nut to crack on your mortgage and you got a nut to crack on your store. If you own both of them, you rent one property, you live in the other one, and you have a retail store.
I'm trying not-
You have a better chance
I'm-
of success.
I'm-
I've said my piece.
Thank you. I don't want to cut you off. You had something you wanted to say earlier.
Yes, just something that I think is relevant when we're comparing, our plan to what was previously envisioned in the PUD. It's something that Mr. Trottier touched on a little bit earlier. The wetlands are a very big component of our design and how we've laid out the site. There are a lot more wetlands that were found on site as opposed to, a previous delineation that had happened. For that reason, we don't feel like the single-family home layout is very buildable, and it would ultimately amount to a tremendous amount more wetland impacts. The Conservation Commission would have a whole lot of hearings essentially to figure out, okay, how much impact is going to be on this single-family lot, how much impact is going to be on this single-family lot. And a lot of single-family lots, in the northern part of the site would have a lot of wet conditions to deal with, year-round or for big parts of the year. A big advantage to our site plan is that we can be strategic and we can shift units around to the more buildable parts of the site. The dogleg, if you will, where we have a large cluster, that's a big benefit with our plan as opposed to what was envisioned to the PUD. The green space in the middle that's shown for the PUD is not indicative of all of the wetland area that's out there today. In terms of state permitting, it would be very difficult to go through the state permitting process with DES for all of those wetland impacts. We feel strongly that we've worked hard with getting our wetland impacts down, and from that perspective, we think that our site is our design is a lot more feasible than a traditional single-family subdivision. So it's something to think about in terms of comparing both of them.
Thank you. I want to talk on, does the board want to discuss the waiver a little bit more? We're going to continue this. Would we like to vote on the waiver?
If we're gonna continue it, don't we vote on the waiver next time?
We can, that's what I'm asking. Do we want to vote on the waiver, or do we want to continue this in its entirety is what I'm asking.
Mr. Chair, can I interrupt?
Yep.
If Mr. Trottier needs additional information, we would like to continue the waiver as well and work through it with the staff, if that's possible.
That's fine. Do you want to set a date, or do you need some time?
We ideally would do the January 7th, if that's possible to be moved, but we'll tentatively.
You got 2 years till you're gonna have sewer.
Kelly, do you want to do January 7th, or do you feel as though staff's going to need a little bit more time?
I think the 7th makes sense. You put 15 on there as well.
Yes.
Should probably
Yep.
keep
Let
it
me,
together.
let me ask Will, what is your intention to look at the comments and revise and resubmit? Because you'll never get through that, resubmit and get comments back. You'll never do it. You follow me?
I do. And I think we have a good grasp of the comments, but we obviously just got them this afternoon, so we don't know the full extent of them. But review the comments, review it with you guys, and then take a path from there. I think from condition wordage, I think we can get through a lot of them, but intent for now.
You good with the 7th?
I'm good with it.
So we'll see where you guys get. All right. With that, I will look for a motion to continue the public hearing on the application for a formal review of a site plan and conditional use permit for 250 single-family cottage court-style dwellings, along with associated site improvements, 36 Pillsbury Road, zoned AR1. Woodmont Commons PUD Procopio Companies is the applicant, and Pillsbury Realty Development LLC is the owner, to January 7th, 2026.
So moved.
I have a motion from Jeff. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Arthur. All in favor, starting with Ann, please.
Ann Champa, aye.
Giovanni Barani, aye.
Lynn Wiles, aye. Arthur Rugg, aye.
Jeff Penta, aye.
Jason Knights, aye.
Sean Faber, aye.
John Cruz, aye.
And the chair votes in the affirmative. This has been continued to January 7th. See you guys in a month.
And Mr. Chair, for the general public, this is your only notice?
That is true.
Oh, you're correct, Tony.
That's correct.
Thank you.
All right. Last but not least. Oh, no, it's not.
Two more things.
We have a conceptual discussion at 7 Plainview Drive, zoned Industrial 2. Russell and Francine Wilmarth, Revocable Trust, and Hess Engineers and Construction is the applicant. Come on up, folks. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
And thank you for your patience.
Thank you for your patience.
You guys are real gamers. You hung in there.
Yeah.
Nicely done. You get bonus points for that.
My name is Will Hess with Hess Engineering out of Ashland, New Hampshire. This is Wes Taggett from Hollis Construction Management. We wanted to come before the board for an informational, quickly. We're working on the design of a project at 7 Plainview Drive over by the airport. A little history of the site. Back in 2015, the town and DES approved 24,300 square feet of storage units and associated paving and drainage. It was actually approved to fill in all of the wetlands on site, which surprised me when I saw that, but DES did approve that at the time. That project was never built. We are now proposing 4 buildings that will be contractor bays, 2,500 square feet apiece, totaling 37,500 square feet of building. Even with the great increase in building footprint, you're actually going to decrease disturbance by about a half an acre. We are not going to fill the wetlands anymore. We propose 2 crossings. So we have fire truck access around the buildings. The plans are about to come up.
Sorry about that. It's the one that says 2503.
I'm sorry, my,
4.D
okay.
503.
4D,
Yours is all much different than mine.
oh.
Yeah, the top one, yeah,
Right here?
that one, yeah.
Sorted by date.
And if we just go to probably sheet 3 is probably the best one. That'll work. Yep, so we're proposing 4 buildings. There will be contractor bays. There's no end user for any of the bays yet. They will be either rental or condo. I don't think that's been determined.
That hasn't been determined.
That hasn't been determined yet. We will be servicing all the units on town sewer. It'll be an 8-inch main with 6-inch laterals. Ultimately, to tie into the Delta Drive interceptor, obviously we'll have to pull permits through the town and DES for that. Drainage, we are proposing right now 2 storm ponds, as you can see, on each end of the wetland crossings. We have already done our site-specific
soil analysis. I'm just waiting for the final from the soil scientists. We dug 12 test pits around the site. We have had the wetlands flagged and an existing condition survey done already. I'd say we're probably actually about 60% into design. We have sat with John briefly, Mr. Trottier, just to kind of give him an overview. We are hoping to submit this month to the town, to staff for review, AOT and DES wetlands. We did sit with the Wetlands Bureau for an informational as well. They were very excited to see that we took away the filling of all the wetlands and are just doing crossings at the narrowest points. They did understand the reasoning for the loop was fire safety. Obviously, we want to get fire access around the whole site. So, you know, overall, it's a good project. It's a good location for the project. It's at the very end of Plainview Drive, no abutters, other than the builder is one of the abutters, the developer. All serviced by town utilities. We're in talks with Liberty Utilities as well to see about bringing gas further up Plainview Drive to bring gas into the site as another option. Like I said, we've met with wetlands, and they were happy to see that we've minimized it as best we can while still maintaining access and getting used to that back part of the site. The whole site is just over 9 acres. We are only planning to disturb 3.18. The rest will be left as mitigation area. So it
Already been designated.
Already been designated mitigation area. It won't be built on, so it's got a good buffer around it. The only place it doesn't have a real buffer is where it abuts the sewer interceptor, other than the setbacks. So, like I said, we just wanted to come for a prelim. We're planning on submitting everything, but, you know, we hoped you maybe had some time to look at it, and we wanted to incorporate any comments, questions into our submission so we can, you know, kind of get ahead of the curve. Our hope is to actually start construction in the spring, assuming we can get through permitting.
All right, board? Yes, sir.
Are you anticipating any kind of buffering with the rail trail?
There's an existing
There's an existing
setback there,
setback,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
we'd be happy to consider a buffer on the rail trail if that would, you know, appease the board. And
Yeah, obviously, our retention ponds are fairly tight to the existing setback.
yes,
Right.
but in the setback, we could do, you know, we could plant trees on the setback or do something to kind of give the rail trail a little buffer.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any vegetation there now?
It's fully grown over.
It's fully grown over. The site looks like it was cleared, if I had to guess, 20 years ago. Everything in there's kind of scrub brush and, you know, there's no good mature growth. Someone took care of that.
I think like what Jason says, you know, we would look for a good, vegetative buffer there.
Yep.
And the site itself, though, is about 6 feet higher than the rail trail. So you'd be on the rail trail.
Yeah, there's a
and the
big
site
grade
is up-
change
up
there,
above.
right?
Yeah.
Isn't where the trolley car line went? It was higher up than the rail trail. It was to the south of the rail
Of the
trail.
existing rail trail.
Yeah.
Isn't that what the sewer line runs now?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's in that vicinity, yeah.
So yeah, that's significantly higher than the
Yeah.
rail trail, yeah.
I mean, I think this is a great use of the property. There's a very minimal wetland impact, all things considered. And there's certainly a need for condo bays around here, so.
It brings good commercial to town and
Yep.
and definitely hides it well back on the end of that road.
That's a great location for it.
Yep, it's clean.
Yeah.
Clean revenue.
Yep.
Well, the way you see is from the air.
Yeah.
Just like the power plant.
So the only other comment too, Will, is again, you know, I know that we've been working on this, so again, right, the 50-foot wetland setback here, right? So again, there's a lot of encroachments that I see right now.
Yep, we are gonna have to get a variance.
Well, so again, we need to continue this conversation. Again, depending on the width of these fingers, if they're disconnected and that wetland area is less than a half acre in size, then those setbacks go away,
Okay.
okay?
Yep.
So we can continue that.
Nope, that sounds great. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Because right now, they'd have a kitty.
Yeah. Yeah. And Took me a while to figure out why they didn't have to do it on the last one, then I realized once you fill the wetlands in, there's no more setbacks,
Oh,
so.
gotcha, yeah.
It solves that problem.
You don't just want to do that?
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
No, we don't.
Yeah,
It's
we'd
not-
like to
it's-
keep it the way it is,
Yeah.
Board, anything else? Easiest one of the night, guys.
Yeah,
Hey,
great.
We appreciate it. At least we got to watch the show.
Yeah.
Come back in January.
I might push to February.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, we appreciate it.
Thank
Johnny. Yeah, take care. Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, so last item on the agenda. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Is continued deliberations for 2 Litchfield Road, conditional use permit, application map 12, lot 68, CC Properties LLC is the owner and applicant. Kelly, clear this up for me a little bit.
So essentially on November 5th, as the board will recall, you took action on the 2 Litchfield Road conditional use permit. Technically, the motion is considered a failed motion because the language used was motion to grant conditional approval, but the motion was 3-4, so that is a failed motion. It wasn't actually passed. So you need to correct that for the record.
Okay.
So the motion just should have been done the other way around.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we should have had a motion to deny, is what you're saying?
Right, after that failed,
Then we.
if your
so
intent was to
The motion
deny
would
it,
fail, we
yeah.
should have had a second motion to then deny.
correct.
Yes.
If that's your
Totally
intention, then
understand.
yes.
Totally understand. Does the board have anything, or can we, I can put a motion together.
I don't think anything's changed.
I think we get the verbiage of the minutes, it's just.
Yeah, the minutes were pretty accurate, I thought.
Can I have a point of order or address this, because I brought this to the attention of town staff?
Yeah, I'll give you a sec.
Laura Gandia, attorney at Divine Millimet, representing CC Properties. So I brought this to the attention of town staff. I don't know if anybody saw the emails regarding my communication with town staff. My opinion is when this has happened before in the past, that you just can't make a motion, and the board's never done that. What the process has been, where somebody would do a motion for reconsideration, schedule a public hearing. So now you're making a motion. I know it's being viewed as a clarifying motion, but you're still making a motion on an application without having a public hearing on that application. So if I wasn't here, and if I didn't bring that attention to the town staff, that kind of would have just went. But now I did bring it to the attention of town staff that that was procedurally improper. No notice was given to my client. I mean, I had communications with Kelly, but no notices were given to my client that this was going to happen. I object to this. I think it's procedurally improper, because now basically you're opening a public hearing to make a clarifying motion on an application that has already been ruled on. So I do think there's some challenges here.
Board, do you feel as though we're having a public hearing to kind of clarify this? How do you want to handle it?
My 2 cents is, if Laura believes that we need to handle it a different way, I think with this client, we need to handle it a different way, and approach it with a public hearing.
Yeah, I would agree with that also. I think we should do it the right way so that there is agreement with all parties.
Yeah, avoid any further action.
Yeah, the fact is, they don't have approval.
Yep.
So there's no harm in stretching it to the next meeting and
Noticing it.
Yep. and everything else. There's no, and have a public
I see a bunch of up and downs, no left or rights, so. Good with that?
Yep.
Do we need to continue it, or can you just?
No, I'll notice it as
Yeah.
a hearing if that's your decision.
Yeah. 7th or the 14th? I feel like the 7th is getting full quick. 14th?
Yeah.
I think
Of
we'll
January?
be here for the 7th anyway.
I'm with you folks. I think every meeting for the next, 2 months. Like old times.
Well, I'm expecting cookies next time. You're gonna be here-
What kind?
You don't care.
You don't care?
It's a cookie.
Make sure there's enough for everybody.
I can do that.
All right, let's get back on the rails here. Okay, Kelly, if you could just schedule a hearing for it, we'll dot our i's, cross our t's, and we can clean this up then. Anybody have any objection? Everybody good? Fantastic.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. D.
I might have two things. One is we had three tonight, as a matter of public record. We had three different times when the general public could comment on cases. On one case, nobody commented. On the other two, there seemed to be quite a bit, but I want the record to show that. The second thing, Mr. Chair, is I happened to be perusing on my snow day, pajama day, yesterday, the BEA, the New Hampshire BEA Planning Board in New Hampshire, a handbook for local officials handbook. And I noticed a section in there.
Thank you,
And
John. Have a good night, John. Thank you.
I'm wondering if this board has any interest, or if Kelly can look into it a little further. The section, in section 1, page 11, basically talks about site visits. And we've done that as a board. We all should know that it's illegal to step on an applicant's property without written permission. Some of us may or may not have done that anyway in the past. We also know that we've had noticed meetings as a board to go on people's land after they gave permission, and the general public can come, and it's a whole dog and pony show. The BEA says that there is a process and an option where the board could consider adding a permission clause to the planning board application process, indicating that by signing and submitting the application, the property owner grants permission to the board to access the private property. Now, there's several bullet points after that, which says it can only be individual, you know, if you have a quorum, you gotta be careful and whatever, but in essence, what the BEA is saying, that in the application process, when an applicant is doing their thing, they need to say yes. Planning board members can step on the land during the process of the application. Now, for me, that hit home because it would have been very helpful for me on one of our cases where we were trying to figure out drainage on a very flat piece of land. I'm pretty good with a plat, right? I'm pretty good. I can read the lines, I can read the numbers, but boy, if I could stand in a 3-foot hole and look around and know I can't see over it.
I was gonna
Shut
say,
up.
what are you looking
Shut
at?
up. Shut up.
How are you gonna get out?
So, always have a ladder and a step stool in my truck.
space. I was wondering when the short trip was gonna come.
So it would have been very helpful if I could have had the opportunity to do that. May have done it anyway, but I'm just saying, my question is to the board, is there any kind of consensus of, hey, this may be a good idea, this may be not a good idea, let's have Kelly look into it, let's have legal talk about it, and the BEA also says that have legal, you know, check it out as well. But just a thought.
So if somebody's having a barbecue, we can just show up.
That's my only concern, would be right now, the way we do it is very overt, that we ask permission, we get permission, it's written, they know. If we write it into that, it's very possible the applicant could not know they do it, just kind of go through that. People show up at their land and there's some angst there back there.
Could put a big black letters.
Yeah.
Or you could have the cop show up and haul you
Yeah.
off for trespassing.
All of a sudden you're
Or
getting
one member
chased
of
by
the
a
board
dog
just
or
doesn't-
something.
Doesn't do it in a way that follows the rules, and they weren't sure.
And to that point, I've seen a few shotguns in my day.
Yeah.
I have. But
And the other thought process I had, to add to Sean's, is that, is it something that they can only say yes to?
yes,